What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Holy Sway, Season 1, Episode 8. And today we are going to be ranking all 20 MCU films. And today we are with our Holy Sway cast. My name is Infotex. We also have Arcanized.
Hey guys, what's up?
The Red Arrow.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And Exit over here.
Hello there.
So we are going to be going down from 20 all the way down to all our MCU films as they are ranked. Whoever wants to go first with their 20th is more than welcome to.
Connor, I wanted so bad to do a Grievous impression right there.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Alright, who wants to start with their number 20?
Doesn't really matter. Ark, you can go first if you want.
Okay, my number 20 is Thor: The Dark World. Okay, just being honest, I really remember nothing about this movie.
You don't remember Darcy shouting Mew Mew constantly?
Yeah, that was, yeah. Thor and Jane Foster have zero chemistry, so that's great. Malekith is like the best villain of all time.
Yes.
He does nothing, but I mean, yeah. I don't hate this movie either. It's just that it's so blah and boring and forgettable. So I kind of had to put it at my number 20 spot. I still think there are good things like that Captain America cameo.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just a really forgettable film for me, and I don't enjoy it that much, and I never feel the need to rewatch it, so.
Yeah. Alright. I can go next if you guys want. So, I also have Thor: The Dark World at my 20. I watched it once years ago. I had no interest in it. I think I fell asleep during while watching it, and so I don't remember that much. So last night I decided to rewatch it, and I just couldn't get through it. I could not get through it for the life of me. I put it again, and it's honestly just not. It's like everyone call it a terrible film. It's just
it's not terrible.
It's just
boring.
It's very.
It's just so bland and
it's a shame because I actually enjoyed the first Thor film, and I really did like the third one. This one was just not up my alley. I hear some people do like it, but it's definitely the weakest out of the MCU films.
For sure.
Yeah. Brayden, do you want to go next on your 20th?
My number 20 is Iron Man 2. I haven't seen it since it initially came out, so never felt the need to rewatch it. I know there's a bunch of storylines going on in it, and once you start to get invested in one, it switches over to another, and it's mostly just a setup for the Avengers and future MCU movies.
Yeah.
So
I don't like this one.
I've never felt the need to rewatch this one.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think it's the best MCU movie so far. Sorry, just saying.
Alright. Connor, what do you think?
I don't think.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. Connor, what's your number 20?
It's The Incredible Hulk. Not because it's a bad movie. It's a pretty decent movie. It's just the most un-MCU movie in the entire list.
It's not an MCU movie.
It basically isn't.
If you take out the Tony Stark cameo in the end credit scene,
yeah, it has no connection.
You could literally say it's not an MCU movie.
Yeah.
It's. I think Edward Norton was actually a pretty good Bruce Banner. It's just
he was a really good Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
There's not much to pick from and go, hey, remember that? That was great.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty it's a pretty forgettable movie.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Incredible Hulk, bad.
I think it's kind of underrated.
I see a lot of people say that, but I've watched it like 4 times now, and
Jesus.
I rewatch MCU all the time. But like out of the times to watch it, I don't find much to grab onto and say, damn, that was great.
Okay, fair. I guess we go back to me now.
Yeah, with your 19th.
My 19th is The Incredible Hulk for basically the same reasons as Connor. It just doesn't feel like an MCU movie. I will say the Hulk vs. Abomination fight is awesome,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but other than that, there's no moments where I would go, "Oh, hey, that's really cool."
Yeah.
Like it's pretty bland and forgettable. Edward Norton isn't bad, and I don't think the whole movie's that bad, but I again don't really feel the need to rewatch it that much.
Yeah.
And I like the MCU movies to feel connected. I think that's one of their strong points, and this movie literally doesn't feel like an MCU movie at all. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go next. I agree. I say at my 19, I have the Incredible Hulk. Now after thinking about after watching it, it's honestly not as bad as I originally thought. I just while watching it, I was not having a good time. I was begging for this film to be over. They really rushed through the origins of Hulk, which I think his origins are pretty interesting. To be completely honest, they kind of just skipped through that through the whole beginning. He didn't have much chemistry with what's her face. I did like that Colonel. I did like how they set him up in his casting, whatever his name was. It's been forever.
Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah. It was not a good film. It's not, again, I don't think any of the MCU movies are, terrible, but, it's definitely not good. Again, like you said, there's, literally no point to this film. They could have just cut this film out altogether, and it would make no difference, as they did recast him for, Mark Ruffalo, which, in my personal opinion, is a lot better Hulk, and I don't know, I enjoy that one more. Definitely.
yeah, I think
Go
Ruffalo does a better job.
Yeah. Brayden, what's your number 19?
Well, my number 19 is Iron Man 3. And it's kind of for the same reason you are saying you don't really like The Incredible Hulk. Outside of Iron Man, it doesn't really feel like an MCU movie. Everything after Age of Ultron
it has
basically
the kid
disregards
with
the movie.
It has the kid with the burrito gun.
So
Come on, bro.
Harley?
you could basically just disregard this movie and you'd be fine watching the MCU.
That might not be completely true, though, because isn't Harley coming back in, Avengers Endgame?
Well, he was rumored to be back for Infinity War, but he wasn't, and now people are saying it was Endgame instead.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell if he is or not.
He's in,
There's
the
no
casting
official
list.
confirmation, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, it's forgettable for me, and I never even finished it, so.
Yeah.
I mean, the end fight is pretty epic.
Kind of sloppy.
I fell asleep during it.
Also, the credit scene
The
that's
third
like
act.
a comic book is lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind this film.
He literally tells a terrorist that he's at Stark Tower, and he's not prepared when they attack Stark Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That scene does kind of trigger me a bit.
That's
it's
freaking
not a
dumb.
great movie by any means.
Yeah.
And
True.
it
I
doesn't
don't
feel
really hate
connected.
Yeah.
Like, Connor?
My 19 is also Iron Man 3. Which,
Virtual high
unlike unlike Hulk, I think that The Incredible Hulk actually, while it doesn't feel like an MCU movie, at least it gives us Bruce Banner's origins. At least it has a purpose. Iron Man 3 has no purpose. Nothing that happens in this movie carries on into anything else. At the end of this movie, Tony is seemingly done being Iron Man, but in his very next appearance, Age of Ultron, he's Iron Man again. In the first scene of Age of Ultron, he's Iron Man again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
Rhodey
Yeah.
becomes Iron Patriot in this movie, only to be, in his very next appearance, be War Machine again.
but that's not comic book accurate.
Well, I just think it's dumb that this movie doesn't let anything carry on. It literally could be taken out from the MCU and nothing would change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
If
it
you
does
decided
show
not to watch
Tony
the-
dealing with PTSD from the
Yeah.
Avengers, but
Yeah, that
that's
was
about
cool.
it, to be
That's
honest.
the only thing I think was cool from it. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it's an unnecessary movie. Also, the Mandarin plot was never picked back up, despite the fact that, they said he's not the real Mandarin, he's coming back, but he never came back.
Yeah, that's fair.
maybe they had some
it's
common
it's pretty
sense.
unnecessary.
I think he's probably the weakest MCU villain, to be completely honest.
I actually think
Real
Malekith
Mandarin
from...
is like an actor. So.
Malekith is.
Yeah, I think he
I
was
don't like
worse.
him.
Yeah.
Alright, so my number 18, I guess we'll move on, is Iron Man 2. Again, I don't hate this movie, but a lot of the stuff, it's just kind of weird. I hated, in the first Iron Man, which is great, by the way, Tony, he kind of puts aside his, ego and all of that and learns to be a better person. But then in the very first scene of Iron Man 2, he's just like, oh, I'm not sane. I'm not responsible for the greatest period of world peace ever. And it felt like a lot of his character development from Iron Man was thrown out the window.
Yeah.
And overall, the movie's just, I felt it didn't, capture me, and it's not that interesting. The villains aren't great or anything. Now, I don't think any of the MCU movies are bad, but this one, it's on the lower end just because I don't personally enjoy it that much. It can be fun at times, but I don't really like it a ton.
Yeah. My number 18 is Iron Man 3. I like it was a bad film, let's say, but there's really elements of this movie I do like Ark said, the PTSD with just coming out of Avengers. I felt this was a very good place to start with, kind of just reeling back in from all that happened inside of their last film, and they really dealt with that. What they did had consequences, and Tony was dealing with that, and I like that. I also enjoyed these scenes with Iron Man and Harley. I thought they were interesting and fun. Definitely the weakest Iron Man film in my personal opinion. I thought the Mandarin was just stupid, and how they did that switcheroo at the end where he was just an actor. I thought that was pretty stupid.
That's not very cool.
I don't think it's the worst film, but I also don't think it's the best. That's my 18. Brayden, what's your number 18?
My number 18 is The Incredible Hulk, and you basically already said everything you can about it. It actually has a purpose. It's just not really connected to the MCU. You get hints of his origin, and I think the third act is kind of underrated.
The third act isn't bad, but everything else is...
Yeah. I mean...
I don't know about The Incredible Hulk.
I just think Hulk is by far the most boring Avenger.
Yeah, I hate the
Honestly, he is.
I don't know. I like him on screen. I feel like he got better after Ragnarok, to be honest. Personally.
I think he only worked in Ragnarok because he was with Thor.
Yeah. He works with Thor.
Yeah.
He doesn't work with all the other characters.
Well, I think he works with your characters. He just doesn't work on his own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him and Tony as well. I kind of like their connection.
Yeah.
And
that's Bruce Banner and Tony, not Hulk and Tony.
Yeah. I mean.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it's okay.
True.
Connor?
My 18 is Thor: The Dark World, and quality-wise, I think this is by far the worst movie in the entire MCU. But because this one is actually important, I think I had to put it higher than Hulk and Iron Man 3. This is the first official name drop of the Infinity Stones. It also
true. And it introduces the Reality
and the Collector.
Stone.
Reality Stone and the Collector, they are both integral parts of both Infinity War and even Guardians of the Galaxy to a degree, and they were introduced in this movie. So I think because of that, it has its place, and if you're rewatching the MCU, you should always try and fit this one in somewhere, whereas Iron Man 3 or Hulk, you might not need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
But yeah.
Alright. I guess I will carry on with my number 17. My number 17 is Thor. I actually do enjoy this film, but for me personally, when they went to Earth, it really dropped off for me. I just wasn't interested in New Mexico and Jane and her crew or wherever they went. Now, the action is okay. I like Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I just wish they would have stayed on Asgard, and the fact that it could have been great for me, but it wasn't. I just feel like this film was a big missed opportunity to really show us all of Asgard but I don't think it's that bad. Like, I can enjoy this film, and if I'm rewatching the MCU, I'll sit down and give it another watch. But overall, it's not my favorite.
Okay. We're at 17, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
My number 17, probably unpopular opinion, is Iron Man 2. Now, I enjoy Iron Man 2. Like, it's weird, but it really does show the life of Tony Stark. We do see him back inside the suit, in this Tony Stark way. Like you said, I do agree that they kind of threw a lot of his character development inside the first film just out the window, but I found it very enjoying. They kind of built up that War Machine character that we have today. The only, like, real downside to this film was the villain. I thought he was a very weak villain, but I thought
Both of them, like Whiplash and Justin Hammer.
True. Like, I just didn't think it was that bad, and I do enjoy it when I am watching this film. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but yeah, that's that's my 17.
My number 17 is Thor: The Dark World, and like Connor said, it's not good quality-wise. It's not a bad movie, but compared to other MCU movies, it's probably the worst. But it's actually important in connecting the movies. It's, like you said, it's the first time you actually get the name drop of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's the most important part of the MCU up to this point.
Also impacts Thor's Mario bounce away in Ultron.
And Thor's mom dies.
Oh yeah, that does happen. I forgot all about that.
I cared so much about her.
Wow, how
The
did I
thing
forget?
is, he didn't really care about her, but it's still sad when he brings it up in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man,
Yeah, it's true.
he has lost everyone.
Yeah,
He's legit lost everyone. Like, I don't know how that dude still walks.
And Loki's in it. He's always great.
Yeah.
The
Loki
Loki
is
War
great.
Bunker in this movie is
Like,
great.
Loki's the only, like,
And the
really
Captain
good
America
part.
cameo was epic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was so unexpected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not the best, but
Yeah.
None of these
I
movies
get
we
that.
talk about are the best.
It's pretty important.
yeah.
So my 17 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Really.
Yeah, I hate this movie. I
Dude,
think
it's so disappointing.
it is. I think
the
it's more
most
enjoyable than the
disappointing
others,
movie.
but it's so, I just hate it. I think nothing went right in this movie.
It's the most disappointing movie in the
The
MCU.
tonal
like,
shifts are
period.
insane.
Yeah, like what the hell was that? The like 5-minute gag about the pear not being ripe or something that they kept bringing up every couple minutes for the first half of the movie.
Yeah,
And the
and
payoff was just Nebula eating it and saying it's not ripe. Like those are the jokes throughout this movie.
yeah,
they're not
the
good.
the jokes in the first Guardians landed every
Yes,
time, and they were so good.
much.
These ones just seem forced. And
Yeah, they really
like,
did.
why is this going on? What, like, I don't know. I
think
don't
the
like
Ego
this
and Peter
movie either.
bonding stuff was pretty good, and introducing Mantis was fun because I think the Mantis and Drax worked great together in Infinity War. So I'm happy that this movie could give us that. But
Yeah, that was
besides
fun.
that, there's not much. I think the Yondu stuff and the Ravager stuff was good as well, but Yondu like having to decide whether he wants to kill the Guardians or not, or and be a real Ravager or if he wants to join them. That was
I
fun.
think Yondu was by far the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yondu was good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
I think
his
it was
name's not Wandu.
disappointing.
It's Mary Poppins.
Oh yeah, Mary
I'm
Poppins.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That's Yondu.
That was great.
Yeah.
Also, we should probably say before we get into like the newer movies about spoilers, full spoilers probably.
Oh yeah. If
Yeah,
you
probably
haven't
should have said it
seen,
at the
like,
beginning,
a lot of
but-
the newer ones, then
Yeah.
you know you might be
Just
advised
any
to
of
click
these.
away.
Yeah, he's never seen any Marvel movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Spoilers.
I mean, if you
Major.
clicked on it though, thanks because you gave us the view. Now scram.
No, just leave it playing.
Now
We
go
need to-
binge
Oh yeah,
it.
just leave it playing. Give us that retention time,
Yeah.
and
please
just
do.
go do your homework, kid.
Go watch, like, binge all these movies and then come
It's
back
not
and
funny.
watch it.
You know you got something else to watch, so, just leave it
Yeah.
playing. Go take care of whatever you gotta do.
All right, moving along with number 16. Mine is Iron Man 3. Now, I probably have this a little higher than most, but a lot of that, I think, is some of the nostalgia factor because this was the first MCU movie I remember seeing in theaters with my mom, so that like adds a little bit to it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't find it a bad film. Most of the stuff is enjoyable. The Mandarin twist was just plain stupid, and I don't get why they did that at all, because he was shaping up to be a really good villain, and then they just chucked it out the window and gave us a bad villain who I didn't like. I do like the PTSD stuff, but I do get that it is pretty unnecessary in the whole scheme of the MCU. So I can't put it that much higher, but I honestly don't hate this film.
Yeah. Oh, it's my turn for that. My number 16, and I actually wanted to put this film higher, but it is what it is. My number 16 is Thor. Now, I think I enjoyed this film a lot more than the average person. I honestly, there wasn't like a really point in the film where I'm like, I'm not liking this. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think they did that Thor character very well and introduced him. I actually don't hate Jane probably as much as the average person. I hate like her friend, that like terrible actor from like Two Broke Girls. Like, yeah, like I don't like her. But overall, I thought it was good. I thought they kind of introduced Asgard good. But like Ark said, I would like them to like have spent more time on Asgard, building up that whole like civilization, which is something we still honestly haven't really got that much of. But I don't know. I didn't hate this film. I enjoyed it. I thought it was average. Nothing special though.
My number 16
Yeah.
is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Hey.
For all the reasons Connor said, it's extremely disappointing, and the tonal shifts are insane in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the heroes don't even act like heroes at the time. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not really heroes. Like,
Yeah.
Some of them felt completely different than they did in the first Guardians. It was just crazy.
See,
yeah.
I think, I agree with that. I think they felt more like a family though, which was
Yeah.
nice. It was the humor that let it down.
yeah, I agree
But the
with
humor
that.
was everywhere.
Yeah,
It was so everywhere.
it
Like,
was
I
all
don't
over
know.
the
Some
place,
jokes
yeah.
were great, but some just went on way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, some were funny.
Yeah,
Music was still pretty good though.
yeah, the music is good. I like
That's a good soundtrack.
Yeah, the
I hope they
soundtrack
make
is
a
great.
good soundtrack for the third one as well, because he picks good music.
Mm-hmm.
True. Connor?
Okay.
My number 16, just like Darren, is Thor. Also, I just want to say that I actually really enjoy every movie from now until number 1. Like, there's none of these movies that I'm disappointed with or that I hate. I
Yeah,
find enjoyment in
same.
all of them.
Like, well, I mean, yeah.
It's
None
just,
of the other
some
ones
are better
I
than
hate.
others.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
But the Thor, I think, like, I know that people are saying that they really wish they saw Asgard, but I think that Thor Ragnarok did a good thing in explaining that that Asgard isn't a place, it's a people.
Yeah,
So it makes sense
yeah.
that we wouldn't see much of it because it's more about the people than the place. But on top of that, I just think Thor definitely has the weakest supporting cast.
Oh,
And
yeah.
overall, his
Yeah.
trilogy, despite how great Ragnarok is, I think overall his trilogy is the weakest.
Oh yeah.
Because
100%.
Mhm.
Thor and Thor: The Dark World, Thor: The Dark World is actually pretty bad. But Thor, it isn't bad. It's just a very underwhelming origin story.
Yeah,
Most
just
other
alright.
heroes have
Like-
really good origin movies, and Thor doesn't really. Is just pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Thor.
Okay. Moving on. My number, what are we on now? 15?
Yeah. Top 15.
Is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for most of the reasons we already said. It was so disappointing. The humor is all over the place. The tonal shifts are just really jarring, and a lot of it just it didn't land for me. And coming off of such a great movie like Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy, which honestly I would put in my top comic book movies of all time. It was just such a letdown, and I don't really like this movie, to be honest. It's not bad, but compared to like what I thought we were gonna get from it, it's just I don't like it. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's my number 15.
It's also pretty standalone. Like, besides the Ego and Peter stuff, nothing really carries over to any of the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so. Alright. My number 15, probably an unpopular opinion, but it's Age of Ultron. Now, you guys talked about Guardians 2 being a disappointing sequel. I think Avengers Age of Ultron was just so disappointing in my opinion.
I agree.
Age of Ultron is really disappointing,
Yeah,
too.
I mean, like, the Avengers is one of my favorite movies ever made, so going into this, like, it was cool, don't get me wrong, I love all the action scenes. They very dimmed down Ultron as he's one of the, like, Avengers' biggest threats, and I felt like he was defeated way too easily. Like, again, there are scenes I did like, overall. Like, I like that, like, scene where they're all just sitting around, like, trying to pick up, like, a Thor's hammer. I thought that was cool. They introduced...
That was, well, like, the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, like, they...
It budges when Cap touches it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that scene.
And Thor's like, oh, no.
Yeah, Thor says, oh, shoot. Wait a minute. This isn't supposed to... Hold on. And then I love the theory about, you guys know the theory about he couldn't actually lift it because he didn't wear a helmet when he was riding the motorcycle? That's like the best theory. But overall, it's not a very good movie.
No.
I mean, it's good. It's just disappointing and
it's good. Just in comparison to the other two Avengers movies, not
good.
Yeah,
I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's really a good Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot
kind of
that
like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It emphasizes the humor too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like...
It kind of feels like Iron Man 2 in a sense that it's just a setup for... A lot of it's just a setup for future films.
Yeah. And that's... And
yeah,
this,
true.
This film really did set up a lot. They introduced Vision. They introduced Scarlet Witch with her really weird accent, which I'm very glad that they got rid of that. They introduced Quicksilver for like 30 seconds. Which I'm still triggered that he died in that film. There's no reason why he should have died.
What's the point of even seeing him at that point?
The biggest thing they introduced in that movie was the Sokovia.
Yeah.
With the Accords. Like, like that carries on the Civil War, which splits the Avengers and is the reason why they're all separated and pretty much lose in Infinity War.
Yeah. I think they may actually, like, dive back into this film or, like, kind of do flashbacks to this film in the future of the MCU because I do think the X-Men will be placing a very important part. I'm curious how they're going to do it because they played it off in the MCU, like Scarlet Witch isn't a mutant. So I'm curious how they're going to do that. Maybe they'll do something in that inside the Scarlet Witch and the Vision show. I enjoyed it. But like this is only on my number. This movie's only this high just because it's so enjoyable.
It's honestly a really enjoyable film if you're just like sitting down and you have nothing else to watch.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty enjoyable, but overall,
most of that's just because the cast has such great chemistry.
Yeah.
Like this cast has such great chemistry.
This was a weak film for Hulk though. Like this is probably one of his worst. Well, I mean, besides the actual Hulk film.
I didn't like.
They never really explained the connection between Black Widow and Hulk.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like they have a connection, but why?
Yeah.
It's great when they bring it back up in Ragnarok, though.
Like I did like the Hulk versus the Hulkbuster suit. Like that was a cool fight. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, probably one of the coolest like fight scenes.
That was such a that I can't talk. Fan-pleasing moment.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool, but I don't know. Who's next? Raiden?
My number 15 is also Age of Ultron, and we literally just talked about it, so... Vision picking up Thor's hammer was awesome, though.
Yeah.
Oh, you
that was
like
pretty cool.
Just hands it back to Thor.
Yeah,
Thor's just like...
hands it back to him. Thor's just like...
Holy crap.
Just him or facial expressions are the best.
You know what?
Yeah, I also love during the end fight where Vision just is like terribly well balanced, and then Thor's like, yeah, it's all in the swing.
You know what?
I was born yesterday.
You know, it would have been kind of cool if like Thor wasn't like Civil War and we had like this Vision versus Thor fight. Like, holy crap, that would have been insane.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Ultron was a really underwhelming villain though. He was way cooler in the trailers.
He was so awesome in the trailers, and then he was dumbed down and
no strings
in the
on
actual
me.
movie.
Oh, yeah, remember that like darkened version of the Mickey Mouse song? That's true. Or not Mickey Mouse, that Pinocchio song.
Yeah,
That was
it's
so
amazing.
Yeah, like he was set up to be such an epic villain in
Mhm.
the trailers, and he just wasn't.
Yeah, I feel
He was
like
like cracking
God.
jokes and stuff, and
I feel like he may return in the Scarlet Witch and Vision show if they want to do that. Like, I feel like he could easily be like the main villain of that and maybe redeem that character a bit. Maybe.
Well,
Yeah,
Ultron's
'cause-
kind of like Brainiac, where there's multiple versions of him. There's like Ultron 2, Ultron 3, Ultron 4. So
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
just do that.
Yeah.
like he can't really die.
Yeah, you just
Like-
gotta back
Yeah.
up his hard drive.
I'm
Yeah.
still dumbfounded on how Brainiac has not been in a Superman movie though.
I know, right? He's like,
Wait,
besides
ha-
Darkseid, he's Superman's biggest threat.
Yeah, and I'd say besides like Lex Luthor and maybe Darkseid, if you count him in that, he's
Yeah.
his best like villain.
Yeah, agreed.
Some people would say Zod.
Oh yeah. Zod.
Zod's a good villain, but I don't think he's his strongest. I think Brainiac could definitely murder Zod.
No,
Yeah.
I think if you don't count Darkseid, Brainiac is definitely his strongest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Brainiac, like when he's peak mode, he's so powerful.
Yeah.
And we're back at it again, guys, going off track.
That's what we do.
No one cares though, so.
Literally, no one cares. There's 3 people watching this right now. It's fine.
Hey, we got 20 something on the last time we talked about stuff like this.
If
So,
you're still watching this, you're a legend.
yeah, thank you.
You're the legend
Ooh.
27 if you're
Ooh.
still watching this.
Legend 27. I remember that. It was such a meme.
The commercials, bro.
Oh, that was everywhere.
Everywhere, dog. Anyways, we should be getting back on
Oh,
track.
yeah. So my number 15 is going to be controversial as heck, and it's Black Panther.
We just lost like 100. We just lost like all of our subs.
Oh, wow. Yeah, oh, wow. Probably. I'm sorry about that.
No, guys.
It's an overrated movie though. So.
It is an overrated movie, and I think that's why I have it this far down on the list, is because, or this high up, because it was so overrated. So I went into it like expecting this absolute masterpiece,
Same.
and I was like, that was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's a well-made movie, but
It is.
it's not that enjoyable. I don't think it is. At
It
least.
looks great for the first 30 minutes, and then the CGI and everything starts to look really bad.
Oh, it's bad in the third act.
The
Yeah,
third
yeah.
act CGI
It
is
is.
horrible. I'll admit
Killmonger's
that.
a great villain, but he's not near as good as most of the other villains in the MCU. I wouldn't even put him like top 5 villains. I think he's
You
good. He's
wouldn't?
not great. Nah, probably not.
I think
Yeah.
he's like the third best.
Yeah.
Well,
I
like-
mean,
Thanos, Bucky,
well,
I say
Civil
Thanos,
War.
Loki, Killmonger, Vulture, Bucky.
I would.
Killmonger is great, but I think most of that's because of Michael B. Jordan, and
Yeah.
some of it's the writing, of
I
course.
would-
but-
I
Michael B. Jordan is just a great actor.
Yeah. And like, let's forget about Fantastic Four.
See, that wasn't even his fault though.
Yeah. True.
What the heck was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We haven't had a Fantastic Four movie since 2005.
Oh yeah, that's Fan forced it,
Yeah.
not
Fuck you.
Fantastic Four.
Whose idea was that?
Like,
You know, I
who walked into the pitch meeting and was like, "All right, I got a new Fantastic Four movie, but it's not gonna be called Fantastic Four. No. I got this great idea. We're gonna do some wordplay because you know how a four kind of looks like an eighth. We're gonna make it fantastic, and everyone's gonna love it, and no one's gonna think it's cringy, and it's gonna be great."
Hey guys, what about we put a 4 in the middle of the word fantastic?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, because you know,
what do you think?
Fantastic and Four, like, and everyone's brains just exploded. They were like, "Oh my God, you're a legend!"
You know
Give
what?
them all the funding.
You know what would be even more cringy if, like, in the future we have a film called Fantastic Four Forever. I'll just start
Oh,
dying.
no. That sounds like a Fast and the Furious title.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back on track a little bit. I would probably put Killmonger at my number 3 unless we're like counting the like TV shows. And then it'd be
Oh,
Kingpin.
and TV
Yeah.
shows. It's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like a Kingpin is like amazing.
Kingpin is incredible.
Fifth, Kilgrave, Ward. There's so many great.
Oh yeah,
TV
Ward is
villains.
amazing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed that film. I have mine a little higher though.
Okay, so my turn for 14.
Yes.
Yep.
Alright, my number 14 is Doctor Strange. Might have it a little bit lower. I really enjoy this film. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is great, and the visual effects are jaw-dropping. And it is a really important film in the MCU. You know, we see the Time Stone for the first time, and it's really cool. I liked how they delved into that. His origin story was pretty great, but at the end of the day, there are just movies that I think like that I enjoy more. The action is a little more fun, and overall, I just don't think this is a spectacular movie in the grand scheme of the MCU. It's very low key compared to some of the others, and even though we had heckin' Dormammu, which the way he defeated him was awesome.
Yeah.
And I do hope he comes back like later in the MCU.
Oh yeah. Probably like Doctor Strange
It was
too.
interesting.
So I like this movie, but at the same time, there are definitely movies I would rather watch than this one, and for that reason, I've just kind of put it there in the middle a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's my turn. You know, after hearing you guys complain about this film, like the whole podcast, I would probably rate it lower now. But at my number 14, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. After hearing you guys, I understand why, but I generally enjoyed this video. Granted, when I watched it for the first time, or not video, this movie, when I watched it for the first time, I didn't really know, like, I wasn't really equipped for, like, okay, what's a good movie and what's a bad movie. I generally enjoyed it. I thought I enjoyed most of the jokes. I enjoyed it. Brain's about to, like, kill me. I really enjoyed Baby Groot. I liked him. Like, I don't really have that much to say about it. I did enjoy it at the time, but, like, now hearing you guys, I see why, and I'd probably, like, put it all the way down at, like, 16 now, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it that much, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I actually watched the Guardians of the Galaxy movies back to back because I don't know how I missed the first one, but I didn't watch it until like a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Really? Damn.
Yeah. Like, at first I thought it was just stupid because there's like a talking tree and a raccoon, but then it was incredible, and then I watched Volume 2 because it was on Netflix the next day. So.
You know, what it was Connor said, I do really like that family aspect. And you guys know that I love shows and movies that do that kind of have that, like, outcast, and, like, together they make a family. That's what I like, shows about, like, Legends of Tomorrow and, like, Runaways, and kind of, like, Doom Patrol now, and I like that kind of stuff, so I'm probably a sucker for, like, all that, yeah. Again, it's not, like, the best movie, it's probably honestly one of the worst now that I'm thinking about it, but, yeah, that's my number 14.
It's still enjoyable. It just
Yeah.
is disappointing in comparison to the first.
Yeah. Like, it's so disappointing, but it is an incredible film.
Yeah.
My number 14 is Thor, and like Connor said, it is the worst origin story, but I think it's still a good movie, and I think a lot of the humor hits.
It's alright, yeah.
And I just really enjoyed Thor, like, experiencing Earth for the first time, and
Yeah. I love the scene where, like, he's, like, drinking the coffee and he's like, next! Just
yeah,
throws
that's
it
what
back
I
to the
was about
ground.
to say. He shatters the mug. He's like, next. And everyone's just looking at him like he's crazy.
What the heck? Get this guy out of here.
It's like a psycho. And I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this earlier. I don't mean to, like, ruin on your thing. They also introduced Hawkeye inside of this film, which really did set up
they
Avengers.
Yep.
Yeah, and he goes to grab a gun, but he decides to grab a bow because he's Hawkeye.
Hint, hint, nudge,
That was
nudge.
honestly dope. Like,
Yeah.
I remember watching this film, and I actually watched it when I was, like, pretty young, so I was like, hey, I know who that is. That's Hawkeye. He shoots bow and arrow. Oh, that's cool.
That, like, pitchy chipmunk voice of yours.
Yeah, that was
I mean, like,
literally...
seeing Hawkeye in this was cool, right? But think if you didn't know who he was and you were just watching this movie randomly out of nowhere, think of how jarring it would be that this random henchman just grabs a bow, points it at Thor, doesn't shoot it, and then never pops up again for the rest of the movie.
You'd be
Yeah.
confused, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd be
That's
like,
true.
why did that idiot not grab a gun?
Yeah. But
It'll
like,
be more effective and you can
let's
shoot
be
it
honest,
quicker.
bows are way cooler. Like,
Yeah.
They sure are.
Guns are probably way more effective though.
Be
Bring
like,
it
Yeah,
up
but
and
bows
stuff.
are cooler.
just be like, Thor, you have failed this city.
Bows are only cool if you know how to use them, and I don't know how to use them. So.
True.
I know how to use a bow. I was filming a video and I broke my window with an arrow. So.
Oh my gosh.
Swords are cooler.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't even know.
Okay.
Loki was great though.
Yeah, look, good.
Yeah. All right. Connor.
My 14 is just like you, Everest. Doctor Strange.
Oh, sweet.
This was like it's a stunning movie. It looks great.
It
I
looks
think that A lot of
incredible.
the characters were fun. It's just I was kind of underwhelmed coming out of it. I was like, that was all right.
Yeah, same. I was like, yeah, I was like, okay, that was good.
yeah.
It was just good, but
A lot of the Ancient One stuff didn't really interest me that much.
honestly, same. She seemed kind of like,
And Doctor Strange was way cooler in Infinity War than he was in this movie.
He was so
He
cool.
was so much cooler.
Yeah.
He was
I think
so much
works
cooler in
better
Infinity War.
with the Avengers or with Tony Stark and Spider-Man and all that than he does in his own movie.
Yeah.
I'd say aside from Thor, he was the MVP of Infinity War.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I love
aside from Thor, he was definitely.
his
Him
like
doing that.
chemistry
Well,
with
aside
Tony.
from Thor and Thanos,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
the real
That's
MVP.
real
Come on,
MVP.
who didn't want him to win?
Yeah, like come on.
I want the world to stay dead. I
Yeah.
hate the world.
Nothing wrong. Good guy
Yo,
Thanos.
Yo, sick boy, I got no school tomorrow. I don't know why I'm saying this on the podcast, but deal with it, you three people watching.
No, we downgraded to like 1 now.
Once you like bashed,
They
once
all
you
left.
had like.
They all left.
As soon as you...
Probably Darren's mom.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably Darren.
On a separate account. So you get the news.
Great podcast, guys. Darren, this is your alternate account.
See, like, Darian is such a handsome YouTuber. Like, ooh.
Darren is the most handsome guy I've ever seen. Wait, you can't even see him though.
Oh, Buddy Darren's voice sounds perfect.
Best podcast confirmed.
We should really end it right. But alright,
You got about-
Connor, are you done with?
yeah, I'm done.
Alright. My number 13 is Avengers: Age of Ultron. I enjoy it, but it is pretty underwhelming, to be honest. Like, the cast has great chemistry, but Ultron was really a letdown. And I like the addition of Vision and Scarlet Witch, but Quicksilver was really pointless.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they were doing with him.
Development he gave Scarlet Witch, but besides that, he was pointless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly. Hawkeye's speech to Scarlet Witch is honestly great.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a film that you're so looking forward to. The Avengers was amazing, and then it was just fun. I mean, I don't have big problems with it, but I couldn't really put it any higher for me.
Yeah. You done with that?
Yep.
Now, I probably should put this one a little higher, but I have Captain America: The First Avenger. Now, I love this film. I think it's honestly one of the most underrated MCU films because it's set up so much. It's set up not just Captain America's origins, but we also get to see the original Stark. You get to see Tony Stark's dad, and they set up so much in this film. I thought it was nearly a perfect origin story. And honestly, like when most people say like, "Hey, like I don't like this movie," I'm like, "Why?" And they're just like, "Cause it's boring," and that triggers me. That triggers me when you say a movie's bad because it's boring. That's no excuse. I thought this film was very good. Again, like, there's some points in the film where I did kind of lose my attention just a bit, but that doesn't change the fact that it was, in my opinion, an amazing film. I don't know. I thought it was very good. I liked his relationship with, like, Peggy. I thought they had so much chemistry together, and this movie really did focus in for also just not Avengers, but also like the whole like MCU. And I think it's cool how they were able to turn a character that not very many people knew about into, you know, one of the most popular Marvel characters.
Yeah, like it was a good origin story.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I love that one.
I don't like them montaging through all this World War II stuff
Oh, I love that.
looked
That was
awesome.
great.
No, I mean I wanted to see all that stuff and not just like a 3-minute montage
Yeah, I guess.
because it was all great.
Yeah, I thought it was a good film. It's honestly really underrated though, because I don't think it gets enough praise.
Yeah, I think it's underrated too.
Braden?
My number 13 is Doctor Strange, and for a lot of the reasons you guys said earlier, and the third act is really awesome though. I love the time loop thing. It was a really cool way to beat Dormammu.
That was so cool. Like, yeah.
And, you know, we got the time stone. That was important.
Yeah.
Yeah, Time Stone's good.
Like,
And it was utilized very well.
it was.
Yeah.
Like, I loved, like, when he turns the apple, like, back to its
Yeah. that's
current
cool.
form and all
Yeah.
that. And,
Connor?
My number 13 is Iron Man 2. I really like this movie, like a lot. I think it did a great job at kind of showing Tony Stark outside of the Iron Man stuff. Got our first hints at Captain America with like Coulson talking about all that and then taking out the shield thing that Howard Stark developed. Also, we got so many hints to like Thor and Incredible Hulk happening at the same time.
yeah.
It is kind of a setup movie, but I think in hindsight of the Avengers, it's better now because you've seen where it leads. Like at the time, I can see why people didn't like it, but I think now it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can see that, I guess.
Okay. So, what are we on now, 12?
Yeah.
So, my number 12 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really, really had a good time with this film in the theater, but I don't think it's one that's going to necessarily hold up incredibly well. Like, it is a ton of fun. I like all the humor. The Ant-Man theme is great. I love Paul Rudd. And Evangeline Lilly, she is not a bad actor and not a bad Wasp. But Ghost, I wasn't completely sure about. She was interesting, but at the same time, she wasn't that great. And honestly, I think this film, it's definitely a good watch and a good one to show someone who's not like totally into comic book movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know how well it's gonna hold up, and it's not the absolute best in terms of like quality.
No.
It's still good,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
it's not like one of my favorites.
Yeah. Alright. My number 12 is also Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, I went to the theater. I went to this past summer, and I honestly really enjoyed it. And I wasn't really getting all the hate. The only thing I think, which was a problem, it wasn't even the film itself. I think the placement. You just came back from two of the most loved MCU movies with Black Panther and also Infinity War. So like.
Well,
so
I think we also needed this as like
a cool down.
kinda
Yes, that's why
cool
I think.
down from
I think
Infinity War.
having Ant-Man and the Wasp before Infinity War is the best way they could have done it. Because
Yes.
you would have had fans coming into this wanting some sort of, I don't know, just
Jeez, yeah.
kind of explanation for what happened in Infinity War, just some kind of connection. Yet you get this fun movie of them doing nothing that really matters to the
Yeah.
rest
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
world.
true.
I didn't have a problem with that. I'm just saying I think that's why a lot of people didn't like it. I thought
Yeah.
it was just a fun take your family to go see movie. I actually
Oh yeah, it's a great family.
yeah.
movie.
I honestly really liked Wasp, and I'm really excited for her character development. Or maybe like a redemption arc in like maybe I don't know, maybe Endgame, probably not, or maybe like or maybe Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. They also set up the original Ant-Man and the Wasp very well. And now I'm pretty sure I may be wrong about this, but there's been talks about like a TV show about like their like the parents' origins, but the original one. So I think that was very good. I just had a lot of fun with this film. Again, really didn't have that much purpose.
It's one of the most fun MCU films, but it really didn't have a purpose.
And also, the end credit scene got me so hyped. And I think that's gonna be
that
a
was
big part.
Insane.
Honestly, that
I
might be
enjoyed
one of my
that
favorite
whole
end
time.
credit
I knew what
scenes
was gonna
besides all the all the MCU because that was good. And it got me really hyped for Endgame and how that's gonna take place.
Yeah, at the same time though, someone that like hadn't seen Infinity War but wanted to go see that would have been really confused.
Yeah,
That's what my dad was.
Let's be honest though.
Dude, I took my
Who hadn't
sister.
seen Infinity War?
My sister came with my mom and I, who had seen Infinity War, and she was like, "Huh?"
This was my dad's first MCU movie ever, so he was so confused. He just like, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a good movie though.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Braden.
My number 12 is also Ant-Man and the Wasp.
wow.
And,
Dude, let's go.
it's a really fun movie, and the action is really good. I think
I
love
love
the action
like
in the movie.
the use of Giant Man and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I just loved how they used the shrinking and stuff, and
Yeah.
It was a good movie. Like I really enjoyed.
it was really fun.
Yeah.
Connor.
My number 12 is Ant-Man and the... No, it's not. It's Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Come
Why
on.
do you have to ruin it, Connor?
Why do you have to ruin it?
Because Avengers...
Watch his number 11 be Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I ain't saying anything about anything, okay? But Avengers was disappointing enough. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I thought it was good. Just it should have been more. They should have made Ultron a more menacing villain. At least they set up Scarlet Witch and Vision and the Sokovia stuff and all that. That was pretty integral to how Phase 3 happened. It's like, you know, this movie set up Civil War, and Civil War ended up setting up how Avengers: Infinity War would play out with.
Yeah, true. So it indirectly affected Infinity War in a huge way.
Also, some of the lines in this movie are great. Like, while the humor might be terrible, some of the stuff they say during this movie is amazing. Like, I think just the dialogue in general is pretty strong, and then the
like I love the line about, you know, we're gonna do this together. We'll lose, then we'll do that together too.
Yeah,
Did
exactly.
they like
all of
the bit where
that?
Tony says about the end game.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
But yeah, Thor was cool in this. Captain America's cool in this. It's just disappointing.
Yeah. It pretty much is. Yeah, exactly. My number 11 is Captain America: The First Avenger. I also think this is a really underrated film. I think it's just a great movie. Like, I watched it and I was like, I was enjoying this movie. Like, I really liked it, and I didn't understand some of the hate because even though he didn't like fully develop into the character that all of us love until like Winter Soldier, I think Chris Evans is a great Captain America.
Oh yeah.
And this is a really good origin story, and especially the first hour of like his whole origin story and all of that, I absolutely love. And I love setting up his friendship with Bucky. I thought they did that really well. So the payoff in the sequel is all the better.
Oh yeah.
And overall, I think the action's fun. Red Skull is among the better MCU villains. And this is just a pretty chill but fun movie. And I think it's really underrated.
Yeah. This one, like, probably an unpopular opinion, but my 11 is Doctor Strange. Now, I feel like most of you guys have already talked about this one. I fully enjoyed this video. This movie set up a lot. They truly needed this film to go into the Infinity War. They set up these Infinity Stones and how he's the keeper. I thought it was good. This is really the first time where they introduced like magic into the MCU. Like, yeah, you can argue like Age of Ultron with like Scarlet Witch, but I like this film. I thought it was enjoyable. I liked his origin story. Kind of reminded me a lot of Iron Man and like his original origin story, and seeing him kind of have to fight for what he wants. His career was over, but you know, he found something else. He found something else that he loved. He found a purpose in life, and I really enjoyed this movie. Probably should be down. It probably should be like sent down just a bit, but I honestly really enjoyed Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I thought that the origin story was a bit of a rehash of Iron Man, but Iron Man's origin is great. So.
Well, I feel like that it pays off inside Infinity War, because their stories are so similar but so different at the same time, and they have so much chemistry together, and we see them bash heads throughout the whole film, which I think it honestly really does pay off inside the end game, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about Doctor Strange, though. Braden?
My number 11 is Black Panther. Yeah, I think this movie gets too much credit.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, that's fair.
I think it's a really well-made movie, but on the entertainment side of things, I think there are so many more movies that are more enjoyable and just more high-paced, have better characters overall.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I thought it was an alright movie. Right,
yeah, okay.
Connor?
Alright, Connor.
My number 11 is Ant-Man the Wasp, for reals this time.
Dude, I can't. Come on.
Had to ruin the 12 trend.
Just like,
I'm sorry.
Just do that 10 minutes sooner, bro.
No, Connor, you're kicked off the podcast, bro.
Okay, that's
this is
fine.
unacceptable.
You're all Captain America First Avenger haters anyway.
Hey, I have not said it yet, have I?
Oh, yeah, you're all Captain America First Avenger haters except for Brady.
Hey,
Yeah.
I have
Me
mine
and Connor are brothers.
like pretty high.
Plot
Come on.
twist.
But yeah, Ant-Man the Wasp it's a fun movie. It does feel too cheerful in my opinion though, to put it after Infinity War. Because people who might not have been that interested in the MCU otherwise and might have caught a movie like Ant-Man the Wasp when it was on Netflix would have went out of their way to watch this movie since it came right after Infinity War. So they might have went out of their way to see it in cinemas because it's after Infinity War.
Yeah.
And just to go into a movie that takes place before Infinity War and for the most part has absolutely no connections to it besides the end credit scene is a little annoying, I guess. The way I would have done it is put Ant-Man the Wasp maybe early April and then Avengers be end of May, and have the end credit scene of Ant-Man of Hank Pym and all that disappearing be the mid credit scene of Infinity War, so that you can keep the end credit scene the same, but it still shows what happened to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that honestly would have worked better. That's smart.
But besides the quantum realm, this movie doesn't really do much, I guess.
Yeah,
It'll be
it
interesting
doesn't.
to see
Like
what they
the
do.
quantum realm could be huge in the future, but
Yeah.
other than
Quantum
that,
Realm could be huge in Endgame.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be in Captain Marvel in some way. To be honest.
True.
But besides that, the movie
Yeah.
doesn't really do much that impacts anything else. Like, even the villain of the movie, Ghost, isn't a villain by the end of the movie. She's just like a misunderstood person.
Yeah,
who's portrayed by
yeah.
Shane.
Yeah,
She wasn't really a villain throughout the movie. Which
Yeah,
I don't think every
She was
villain
just-
has to be a villain.
True.
I don't.
Yeah,
I
she was
think
just
that,
in
like,
so much pain that she was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, the headache. No.
Oh no, here comes the headache again. She was kind of forgettable though, to be honest.
Yeah, she was pretty forgettable.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like she could have some sort of purpose inside of the future. I definitely think we'll be seeing her again. If it's in the third movie or if it's in like Avengers 5 or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It
know.
also didn't help that because Ireland and England get Pixar movies a month after America does, we didn't get Incredibles 2 until the date Ant-Man the Wasp came out worldwide. So because of that, Ant-Man the Wasp got pushed back to August for us. So I already had most of the movie spoiled by the time I saw it, which really sucked. And I still saw it day it came out here, but I still had it like mostly spoiled because of a month of a break. So because of that, I also was a little underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. My number 10 is the first Ant-Man. I love this movie. I think it's so underrated. Like, it's honestly great. The humor is spot on. Paul Rudd is awesome. I love all the shrinking stuff. I think it's a good origin story. A pretty different origin story.
Mhm.
I love that it's a heist movie. I absolutely thought that aspect
I
was
really
great.
love that about it. I love heist
Like-
movies. I love comic book movies.
Yeah.
Combining them, yes.
Yes. Like, it was just great. And this movie is just so much fun. I'll rewatch this one almost any time. I feel like it's a great rewatch. I love the Falcon cameo.
Oh yeah.
It's just a really good movie. I literally can't put it higher because there's just movies that I love more. There's no real problems with this one for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's
agree.
not perfect by any means, but I love it.
It's very small scale, but it does it well.
Oh yeah, it does small scale really well.
Mhm. Yeah. Arcanized is pouring on kill me for this, but my number 10 is Civil War.
Wow.
Whoa. What? Explain yourself, Darren.
Hold on a minute. Wait, hold the phone. Hold. Darren, you just made the one person left watching this
We-
unsubscribe.
We just lost all our
If all the
subscribers.
Black Panther fans didn't leave, they sure left now.
Yeah, we just lost all of them, bro.
Well, we didn't
Come
lose
on.
all our subscribers because, let's be honest, they're all not watching this. So.
Unless we ourselves unsubscribe, then.
Dude, I'm unsubscribing, right?
Yeah, Darren,
Darren, explain.
You're right. You know, I have no significant problems with this film.
Darren, what is wrong with you?
Good things.
I think.
You just hate like everything great.
You know, and it's weird.
Okay, Connor, you're no longer kicked off the podcast.
Thank
Darren.
you. Thank you.
And
Glad you're
Connor,
back.
you're reinstated.
Connor,
Darren,
you
back.
stay.
You know, it's kind of weird too because I enjoyed the film. I did, and I love Captain America, and I love Tony Stark. Some part of me just didn't really enjoy this film as much as I probably should have. I mean, it did a
what
great.
part though?
I don't
Like, we're
know.
talking your
That's
brain,
the thing.
your
I've said
heart,
this
your
before.
eyeball, your foot, your toenail.
What is there not to enjoy?
I don't know.
Great.
I don't think I enjoyed it as much as other people probably did, or how I.
Black
probably
Panther
should
was
have.
way better in this movie than he was in his own.
Yeah, honestly, I'd probably rank it up a little bit too. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I should. And I just think there's others that I personally enjoyed more.
Darren, this movie introduced Spider-Man.
True. Honestly,
Come on, bro.
now that I'm thinking about it, I'd probably put it at 9. Honestly,
Darren,
Oh wow, that's so much better.
you know,
still a
because
sin.
because my number 9 really doesn't deserve it to be that high. If we're being for real.
Like, man.
You
so-
like
Alright.
Black Panther better than Civil War?
Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, probably not. I don't know. Can somebody please go before I get my head chopped off? Jeez.
Great.
Okay,
What's your number then?
My number 10, like Arcanizes, is Ant-Man.
Let's go. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, it does small scale super well. It's a heist movie, and that's what I really love about it. It's a heist movie.
Yeah.
Y'all
I
be,
thought that was
some,
awesome.
y'all be some Ant-Man haters, man.
Yeah.
And Scott Lang's connection with his daughter, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
That's
Castle
so
Scott
good.
stuff is really fun.
She's actually a good child actor.
Oh yeah, it's not William.
Yeah, I think the university should take some hints. Take some hints.
Also, can we talk about the amazing end fight with Thomas the Tank Engine and
Dude!
Yellow
Yes.
Jacket?
I
It's
love
so
that.
great.
It,
I
Super,
love that.
it was a really good
Superhero-
third act.
I love when they're making it seem so epic, and then the
Yeah.
camera like zooms out, and you see the train hit
Like,
the
oh my god,
block
they're flying on
and
a train
fall.
track.
Oh my god! And then it just zooms out, and it's a toy train hitting the block.
yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
What's
the
the-
shrinking and stuff was done pretty well. They did pretty clever things with it,
Yeah.
and it was really fun to watch. And a lot of the humor hits, most of the humor hit in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good humor. It wasn't like forced.
Mhm.
Yeah. Felt natural.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Connor.
My number 10, probably another controversial hot take, is Iron Man 1. I like it.
I
It's just,
mean,
in
Connor, it's not as
comparison,
bad as having Civil War at number 10.
that's-
Leave me
fair.
alone.
it's not as bad as having Civil War.
Leave me alone. I'm about to sue y'all.
Darren,
Oh,
we're
wow.
not gonna leave you alone though. Like,
You guys are
Darren,
never gonna let
we're
me.
just gonna take our side.
Y'all are never gonna let me put this down, are you?
like
Okay.
everyone, we're exposing Infotex.
Yeah.
Darren, you're never gonna live this down.
Yeah.
Is
You're
Infotex
not
actually
you're
an
gonna have
MCU
like 2
hater?
million subscribers, and then someone will watch this podcast and then share it with everyone, and you'll be down to like.
It'll be
You're-
like
you're
my
gonna
wedding
be on
day.
a deathbed, and like we're gonna be like, "Hey, Darren, you remember that one? Civil War number 10."
No, no.
Dude,
It'll
we'll
be like,
finally meet up in heaven, and we'll be like,
it'll be,
"Yo, Darren, why'd you put it at number 10, bro?"
that'd be like
He's
my.
gonna be at the gates of heaven, and God Himself is gonna ask him, "Why did you put Civil War at number 10?"
Gosh.
Is Darren's version of hell just watching Civil War and repeat?
I
I'm done.
mean, mine is listening to him say Civil War is number 10, so.
It's true. It's true. I'm sorry, Darren.
Darren,
I'm
sorry.
dying. I'm low-key dying right now.
There's not gonna be a bigger shock this podcast.
No, there's just not.
I mean,
I mean,
Yeah, Iron
maybe,
Man.
but.
I'm
I mean-
still shocked.
I have Black Panther at like number 1, so.
probably- Ugh.
Okay, Connor, you go ahead and explain yourself on that.
I love Iron
Well-
Man, but I mean, I can understand.
I love Iron Man.
It's a good movie, and it was a great start to the MCU, but in comparison to some of the other movies we've gotten since, it's just so small scale, and it's fun to see where it all started, but at the same time, like, you know, when you're watching it, you'd be like, damn, I wish I was watching Civil War right now. Unless you were Darren, of course, but
Oh.
if you're me, you're watching this saying,
Oh,
Yeah,
I wish I
but
was watching Civil War right now.
it kind of had to be small scale because it
It
was the foundation of
Yeah.
the.
yeah.
It did.
So-
Like, it's not a
They
fault
couldn't
against
have
it.
just-
You have Iron Man to thank for the bigger scale movies.
Yeah, bro.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Come on. If Iron Man didn't do well,
If Iron Man was a flop, who knows if we would have ever gotten MCU?
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Like,
Well, I mean,
Disney, or well, at the time, Paramount, wasn't it? They're not as reactionary as WB. I think they still would have went forward with it because the end credit scene was always still Nick
Yeah.
Fury.
WB, it's just like,
I mean,
oh my god, they didn't like this. Okay, we gotta go whole nother direction.
That's it. Suicide Squad universe instead of Justice League universe.
oh my
Yep.
gosh. I mean,
Harley Quinn universe.
that would suck so much.
Confirmed.
I mean, they're
2020.
basically doing it. This is like her third film inside
they
the
have.
DCEU.
This ain't even a joke anymore. This is the darkest timeline. Doctor Strange
Yeah.
couldn't save it.
Oh man.
That's why.
Ah.
That's why Than had to make that snap, huh?
He did.
Alright. I mean, and the fact that you put Civil War at number.
There's a lot of things wrong with the timeline. Is what we're trying to say.
Anyways, should I go with number 9?
Yes.
My number 9 is Thor Ragnarok. Now, a lot of people might think I have it a little bit low, but I honestly do absolutely love this movie. I think it really redeemed Thor and set him on the path to honestly becoming one of my favorite Avengers with this and Infinity War.
I agree.
I thought the humor in this movie is great, and aside from maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it's the funniest movie in the MCU.
yeah.
I laughed.
Maybe
So
Homecoming.
Maybe Homecoming too, but it's definitely top 3.
I actually thought this was the funniest movie until I
Yeah,
watched Guardians.
probably.
Yeah. And I just love this. I love Hulk and Thor. Like, Hulk isn't great on his own, but when you pair him with someone like Thor, it's great. The chemistry was awesome. And Taika, how the heck do you say his last name? Watiti?
Yeah, I always get it wrong.
Waititi?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Watiti? But he really knew what he wanted to do for, and I really thank him for that because this was a great movie. And I just couldn't put it higher because there are a lot of other movies that I love, and sometimes I felt it got a little too humorous. Usually it was perfect. but once in a while, I felt like some of the jokes were a little bit forced into like a dark moment or whatever. But overall, it's a great movie, and I absolutely love watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So
10 out of 10.
I've been doing this a lot this podcast, but I would probably actually change my number 9 as well. But I had Black Panther at number 9. Now that I think about it, Civil War is better. I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably switch them. I thought I thought it was a good film. I thought congratulations on it being like one of the first black-led movies. I thought that is great, but it does get a little too much praise. It's not one of the best superhero movies ever made. It doesn't deserve awards. I thought it was good though. I thought they did a very good job at explaining Wakanda, and that comes to play inside Infinity War. They do a very good job with that.
Oh yeah.
I do like Michael B. Jordan. He did an amazing as Killmonger. Had so much chemistry with Black Panther. Again, I thought it was a good film. Like, wasn't the best thing ever made, but I thought it was like a really, really good film.
Okay.
My number 9 is Captain America: The First Avenger.
Wow.
I can't believe it.
All right. It's a dope
Hey,
movie.
Connor, you put Iron Man at number 10.
Come on, Connor.
Okay. Yeah, this is a really underrated movie.
Yeah.
I think it might be the most underrated MCU movie, honestly,
Oh, yeah.
because I think it's a really well made
I
movie,
would agree
and
with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to overlook it.
it's well paced. I think I thought it was better on rewatch actually, because first time watching, I'm like, oh, that was a good movie, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this movie is really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just respected it more.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cap didn't really evolve into the Cap we know and love until Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And I didn't really love him until Winter Soldier, but just going back and watching that movie makes me appreciate him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winter Soldier hardened him, I felt. Like, when
Yeah.
he trusted Shield, Shield betrayed him and almost killed him and all that. Up until then, he was kind of still cheerful-ish.
Yeah, and Red Skull is great.
Yeah.
I think
Skull-
he along with Loki carried Phase 1 and villains. Because outside of that, I
Yeah.
don't think any Phase 1 villains were good, really.
Yeah.
And we got the Tesseract, of course.
Oh yeah, first actual Infinity Stone.
Technically, yeah.
The first actual Infinity Stone we saw.
I wish they would have done more, like, with Red Skull, like, inside the MCU. I mean, I know we got him in technically 2 films,
Well,
but, like, I wish...
Isn't
Man, I freaked out when I saw him in Infinity War.
Same.
I
same.
got so
I
happy.
freaked out. I was like, I turned to like whoever I was there with because they didn't really know Red Skull that much, and I was like, "That's Red Skull," and I was
Right.
like, and they were like, "Shh," and I was like, "But that's Red Skull."
Don't understand. He's back. Better than ever.
I was there with like 5 of my friends, and only 2 of them are like super into comics and stuff. So, like 3 of them had no idea what was going on. One of them was
Yeah.
like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "That's Red Skull." Like, did you not watch the Captain America: The First Avenger?
Like, at first I didn't believe it. I'm like, wait. Is that Red Skull? Like, did they just bring
I
this dude
always
back?
wanted them to bring him back because
Yeah.
I loved him.
I thought they
And
would in Infinity War too.
I thought he deserved more screen time.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
wish
when I
they
saw him
would
in
have pulled, like,
Infinity
a
War,
Loki
I was
with
His
him.
so
name was
happy.
Hugo Weaving, the guy who played him. He was like done with Marvel after he said he wasn't
Yeah,
going to
I
play
know.
Red Skull again. So it
Yeah.
took them ages to find an actor willing to do it.
Hugo
Mhm.
Weaving gave a great performance.
He did.
Oh yeah, he really did.
Oh, yeah.
And
It
the
sucks that he was
CGI
done
looked a little bit better than the CGI in the 1990 film. Connor, I know you've seen that one.
Oh, I've seen part of it.
Unfortunately, I have.
Was CGI even a thing in the 1990s?
Barely.
Yeah. It was basically just bad makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I do not want to
Product of
go.
its time.
I'm tempted to Google that, but I'm not going to.
It's horrible.
We don't want to go down
He
the
looks
parallax
like
rabbit hole
his
again.
whole
With the Yu-Gi-Oh
face-
card.
His whole face just looks like burnt pizza sauce or something. Like, it's bad.
Oh, maybe he needs to meet up with Pizza Face Burry.
You can go to Pizza the Hut from. Facebook.
You gotta go find the cheese now.
But anyways,
Just go to the golden people in Guardians 2.
yeah. Oh God.
Oh yeah, the Sovereign.
Okay, go on.
So my number 9 is Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna tell me really?
You were ripping on Brayden, but you have it at the same spot.
Look, let's.
What?
I can't remember what
You
happened.
know we're
a couple
brothers.
minutes ago, so- Exactly. There we go. No, this is a great movie. It's so underrated. Also, the parallels between this and Iron Man 1 are
Oh, yeah.
crazy. The scene
Oh,
where
yeah.
you know where it's like showing Captain America or Steve doing the play where he's singing and all that with all the dancers behind him and all that.
Yep.
That
Yep.
scene is basically a recreation of the beginning of Iron Man 2, where Tony lands in the center. There's a big circle behind him and all that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
do not like that scene at all.
And
It's weird, but they're so similar.
It's so weird.
yeah. And isn't that like a
There's
direct?
a lot of weird stuff that happens in Iron Man
Isn't
2.
that a direct reference to the comics too? That scene
Yeah.
with the play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just think it's cool that they made the two Iron Man movies and the Captain America movie look so similar, just to contrast the two heroes. Because they're it shows that they're similar, but they were so different personality-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also great seeing Howard Stark and Peggy Carter and all that, and it set up the Agent Carter TV show, which unfortunately didn't go well.
I always forget that's a thing.
Yeah, so does everyone. But I think it was good. Set up Bucky well, Tesseract, all that. Also, I think that the scene where Steve says goodbye to Peggy and that they're gonna see each other for a dance like next week or something, and then he crashes the plane. That was so sad.
That was
Also,
emotional.
I love the bit where Steve runs out of the Shield compound place into Times Square and he's just looking around, and then Nick Fury asks him what's wrong, and he just says he has a date, and then the movie
Oh,
ends
yes!
there. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect.
That was such an emotional scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great movie.
There's a lot of emotional stuff in the first two Captain America movies
It's
specifically.
one of the most emotional movies that
Peggy.
in the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
honestly is. Like.
Yeah, it's got a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
You
yeah,
can do this all day.
moving on now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
To number 8. My number 8 is Iron Man. Now, I would have loved to have this a little bit higher because it is such a great film and such a great start to the MCU, but there are a few things that did surpass it. Like the first, it wasn't always going to be the best forever, but it set up all of these
Yeah.
great things to come after it, and I gotta give a lot of props to the crew that worked on this and everything, because for one, they didn't really know what they were doing. They didn't know if it was going to be a hit or anything.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is incredible. Like, he gives a great performance, and honestly, it's not even his best in the MCU, but I just love him as Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Almost everything about this movie I love. Kind of set up the 10 rings or whatever they never did anything with, which was kind of weird because they're like a big part of the comics in that.
I think they were going to try and loop the Mandarin into them, but then they never went any further with it when Iron Man 3 did so bad.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, you say did so bad, but it made like $1 billion.
Well, you know what I mean, like reception-wise.
Yeah, I know, but
That's all I ever think about when people bring up the Mandarin twist. I'm like, yeah, they set up the 10 rings and everything in the first Iron Man, and they never paid off the Mandarin.
yeah, they never did it.
You know, Iron Man's biggest villain from the comics? Yeah, no.
Almost everything about this movie I really love. Obadiah Stane, he's not the best villain, but I think he's a solid villain, especially for the first movie. It did kind of start the trend of the villain having the same powers as the hero
Yeah.
and all that. But the line, Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps or whatever, that line is incredible.
Jeff Bridges' performance is great.
It's great.
I love
And
Jeff Bridges.
yeah, same. Like, this movie is just amazing. And I love it. I wish I could have put it higher, but I just can't.
I mean, could.
Well, I mean, I could.
You just don't want to.
Don't
Iron
know
Man
yet
hater.
Black Panther above Iron Man.
Hey, I don't have Civil War at number 10. Just when I go over
Okay.
Black Panther, remember that.
When I say my number 8, remember that.
It's gonna be like my wedding day, and then it's like, I don't know. I don't know. My number 8, is Spider-Man: Homecoming. Now, I really liked Spider-Man: Homecoming. It was a good first film. Honestly, if I'm like, I haven't seen that many Spider-Man films, but it's honestly, what I've seen, it is my favorite. They set up Peter Parker very well, our version of Peter Parker, and I like, because this is different than your average film. You can actually see Peter Parker as Peter Parker, not 100% like Spider-Man. We see him kind of living his high school life, and it's so fresh and new, and kind of gives this new look, especially after like what was it, Civil War beforehand, right? It was a nice.
I mean, Civil War was like 3 movies before, but it did set him up, so.
Whatever. I thought it was a nice cool down. What the main complaint I hear about this film is that this version of Spider-Man is just a low budget version of Iron Man, and I 100% disagree with that fact. See, okay, if he had this cool new suit for like the whole film, I would agree with that. But he didn't.
Dude, he beat the villain with his heckin' homemade
Exactly.
5-minute craft suit.
And I think that's what makes it really cool. That message that gets across. Hey, you don't need all this fancy tech to be Spider-Man. You know, and you're like, that tech doesn't make Spider-Man. Peter Parker makes Spider-Man. The heart makes Spider-Man. I think that was such a good film. I love Ned. I love the supporting characters. I loved MJ. I thought the villain was. I thought he was alright. Like, I didn't think he was amazing. I thought the Vulture was pretty good though. I mean,
great.
I mean, compared to other villains, like, he's not like Loki or Thanos. I mean, I thought he was good. I liked the twist in being what's her face's like father. I thought that was good.
Liz.
Thank you, Liz's father. I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed this film. Like, it's not my favorite MCU film, but I thought it was still I thought it was a pretty good film.
Yeah. All right.
Vulture's amazing.
Vulture is incredible. All right, Brayden.
I feel like this is gonna be my most controversial pick, but my number 8 is the Avengers.
Ooh.
And yeah, it was revolutionary at the time, of course, because it was a culmination of 5 other movies, and it was the first big team up movie. It might have been the first team up movie. I don't even know. Besides like Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Yeah.
And it's a really good movie. The storytelling is great. How the team comes together is great. And that's mostly because there was so much build up before.
Mm-hmm.
Loki as the villain, that was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So comic book accurate too.
Yeah, then you get the introduction of another Infinity Stone in the opening scene, the one that's in the scepter.
Yeah.
Mind Stone. So good. I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and of course that's important all throughout. Creates vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And build up everything.
Mhm.
And that final scene when they finally come together, start fighting, and the formation of the team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
That's
even care. The
bone-chilling scene.
I don't even care when they come together in that circle. That is still my favorite single shot in the entire MCU.
So good. It's so
Every single time, goosebumps.
Yeah. The only one I would put before that, personally, is the one that we have inside the trailer for, I think it's Infinity War, where like we see Captain America and Hulk and Black Widow all just running inside of Wakanda. Unfortunately, they didn't put that in the film, which is kind of BS.
Nah, I still think the circle scene means way more.
Yeah.
And it's just more epic. And the music, too, the Avengers theme behind it.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
A lot of the humor in this film hits too. MCU is really good with humor most of the time.
Yeah.
And I love the Thor and Iron Man fight.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty quick, but I love how Loki's there and Thor's like, "You listen," and then Iron Man hits him. He's like, "I'm listening." That's still one of like the funniest scenes in the MCU, I think.
Yeah.
He's my brother. He killed 60 people in 2 days. He's adopted.
He's adopted.
It is good.
Yeah.
So guess mine next. My number 8 is Ant-Man, which
Ant-Man's a
it.
really good film.
Yeah, it's already been talked about a lot. You know, being a heist movie, being different, being a good origin, and all that. I like the bit where he ends up at the Avengers compound, which is a cool way because it's like they wouldn't have known it was an Avengers compound because they don't exactly keep that stuff public. And plus, it's only been an Avengers compound for about 4 or 5 months now since Age of Ultron happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool that they did explain that in a cool way with Falcon then fighting Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket was a good villain. He was pretty damn great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also love the opening bit showing the construction of the Triskelion and showing Agent Carter and Howard Stark and all that. Or not Howard Stark. Oh, no, Howard Stark was there actually. Just showing them all in the opening scene, all being really old now.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice way to kind of tie the 1940s era of the MCU with the current era of the MCU by bringing like all the supporting characters from Captain America and tying them to the new characters in a way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good movie.
All right, now moving on to I have Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this is a great movie. Pretty much everything I'd say has already been said before. I absolutely love it. I think the chemistry between all of them is great. I love Groot. I love Rocket. I love Star-Lord. The humor is dead on. Like, I absolutely love it. It's probably the funniest movie in the MCU. The soundtrack is amazing. And to be honest, I would probably put this one higher. But it's just a great film. My only issue with it is Ronan is a pretty sucky villain. Like, you throw Ronan or a good villain in here instead of Ronan, and I think it could easily be, like, competing for the best in the MCU.
Yeah, okay.
I think it can compete without that, honestly. I don't think it needed a good villain.
I mean, no, I think
Ronan
it's up there, but Ronan kind of holds it back from being, like, top 3 for me.
Really?
I liked Ronan.
I thought Ronan was fine. Like,
was
he's one of the weaker villains, but he worked.
I don't even think he was that weak. I thought like he's definitely not like top 5 or 7, but I think he was pretty strong.
I don't
Yeah,
like him,
MCU's
but
had
that's
some
just me.
crappy villains. So,
I mean,
I wish they fixed that now, though, for
yeah.
the most part.
Yeah.
So my number 7, is Thor Ragnarok. Now,
Yeah.
You all hate Thor Ragnarok.
I liked Thor Ragnarok, and this one probably should have been higher, but this film was so beneficial. It was nice actually having a good Thor movie, or at least a good great movie for Thor movie, because the ones before this, like, they weren't bad, but like they definitely weren't good by any means. I liked the new characters. I loved Valkyrie. I thought she was such a cool character, and
Valkyrie is awesome.
This is 1 bazillion % the best movie that Hulk has been in. Hulk's and Thor's chemistry in this film was out of this world. And this movie set up so much going into Infinity War. It's really impressive how they were able to turn Thor's character around in just one singular film. I liked it. I like Hela. Helena. I thought she was good. I don't think she's dead, if we're being completely honest. I don't think
so either.
Yeah, I think she could return in Endgame if they do it right. I thought it was a great film. Wasn't my most enjoyed movie inside the MCU. But I still thought. What?
It's like one of the most enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I said not the most.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair.
It probably should be higher. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my number 7.
well, my number 7 is also Thor Ragnarok.
Man, what the heck and heck?
Dude,
Hey,
we've all said it's a great film. Like,
it's not Civil War at number 10, okay?
Yeah, like, geez.
We're about to
Iron
cause
Man
a
at
new
number
Civil
10.
War.
I'm
We're about
traumatized.
No, I guarantee you.
You're
I guarantee
traumatized.
you. I guarantee you. Connor's number 7 is Thor Ragnarok.
Connor, do you know how many good MCU films there are?
There are a lot, but Thor Ragnarok it's up there.
Yeah, it's number 7. It's up
Connor's
there.
number 7 is Thor Ragnarok, dead straight. Like, I guarantee it.
Yeah, Thor was amazing in this movie. Complete turnaround from what his character was previously, and I enjoyed his character quite a bit previously, but this really showed how powerful he is.
It let Chris Hemsworth be Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was awesome.
Yeah, Thor's definitely one of my favorite characters inside the MCU now. He might
Yeah,
be
yeah. Oh, yeah.
second for me. I don't know. I still like Tony a lot though.
No, he's
Cap's
my like
definitely my
third.
favorite.
He's like my fifth.
Captain America.
He's like my third or fourth.
I love Thor a lot because of Ragnarok and Infinity War.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
I just
completely made his character incredible in 2 movies. Like,
Yeah. It turned it around a lot.
mm-hmm.
the thing is he basically beat Hulk in that fight and then he just got tased.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so
Why can a
stupid.
shock
The
collar
God of
thing
Thunder
incapacitate him?
taken out by a taser.
How did the collar or whatever it was not come off when lightning came down?
Yeah. Like, what the heck?
Also, they just kill off.
Those things are like Hulk shorts level indestructible.
Also, they just kill off the Warriors 3 off screen, basically, or like in seconds, and they're a huge part of Thor's character in the comics.
But I mean, oh well.
So that's kind of. I'd love to see Hela again. I thought Kate Blanchett was amazing in that role.
Dude, she's great.
And
Yeah.
The thing is,
she's one of the better villains.
Yeah, she's definitely one of them. I feel like I only see Kate Blanchett playing like these evil like queen type roles, but she's so good at playing them. It's like, yeah, I think she's a great villain.
Yeah.
I agree.
I thought she was a pretty refreshing villain.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah.
All right, Connor.
She was the first villain in the MCU that I kind of thought, whoa, she really could match up against Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh,
Same.
Thor would knock them out in a second if this was a real fight.
Yeah. Wait, are you
Um,
kidding me? Thor vs. Malekith?
Well, I
I know,
mean,
right?
Thor versus
No.
Loki was fine.
Malekith is an elf.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
thing
yeah.
about Loki is he's not a fighter, he's a trickster. He convinces
Yeah.
other people to do
He's
his
the
fighting.
god of
for him.
mischief.
Yeah.
True,
And he's
yeah.
Thor's half brother, so you know Thor's kind of like
Yeah.
hesitant.
Okay, Connor.
about
Yeah, my number 7 is Spider-Man: Homecoming, which I love this movie. It's still my favorite Spider-Man movie, even after seeing Into the Spider-Verse. I still prefer Homecoming. I think this was a really great. Again, kind of like the movies, it wasn't like too big in scale. It kept a very small scale, and I just thought a lot of this movie worked. It was great to see Tony be around as kind of a mentor figure because we hadn't seen that really in the MCU up until this point. It was also great again seeing him essentially be brought into the Avengers, but he turned it down because he
Yeah.
wanted to be.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
he wanted
That
to be
was
a friend of
powerful.
Spider-Man. It was.
That was powerful.
Which
Like,
No, it's a bullshit.
I loved that.
If I'm being honest, though, I felt like it kind of felt like it was a waste after seeing Infinity War. Like, I like that scene in Infinity War when he officially becomes a Avenger, but like, it kind of like I feel like it was a little rushed. If I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
it would have been more like it would have flowed better if he accepted it at the end of Homecoming
Yeah.
and said that he wanted to stay as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but if there was ever a big situation,
Yeah.
he would
He
come in to
will
help.
be an Avenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than just say that he's not interested at all.
And
That
then
makes
be
a lot
like,
of sense.
I'm an Avenger now, Mom.
Or Ant. Whatever.
or
after
Ant.
Spider-Man
his mom is gone.
rip. Oh yeah, she is actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's Spider-Man in this movie has one of the better supporting casts out of the
Yeah.
entire MCU.
Yeah.
Just more
Okay.
enjoyable ones to watch.
Yeah.
And I just thought, yeah, it was a very unique movie because most of the time the people are already pretty well established. When we see them in their movies, they're already like they're big important people. Peter's not. He's still in school. He's just trying to get along with
He's
his
a
stuff.
15-year-old.
Yeah.
Like,
16?
Like Doctor Strange is one of the world's most renowned surgeons. Thor is the god of thunder. Steve was
Tony
in World
Stark
War
is-
II.
Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you just have Peter being in school doing his thing.
Yeah.
It's always a nice little change.
Yeah, that's something I never really thought about. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Darren put Civil War at number 10. My number 6 is Black Panther.
What?
Did I mention Darren put Civil War at number 10?
What?
I don't know what's a greater sin.
Yeah, I know. I'm baffled right now.
Okay, I fully get that the CGI, especially in the third act, is terrible. And I do think that people like praise this movie even more than I do, like way too much. Like it
Yeah.
shouldn't be nominated for Best Picture.
No.
I think that's
Not
Like,
by
at
a
all?
long shot.
But I do love this film and I really enjoy it. I think Killmonger is an incredible villain and villain in the MCU that I was like, wait, hold on a minute, is he right? And I had never really gotten that before. Like some villains, you could see where they were coming from, but you were still like, oh, they're totally evil. Like they're doing something wrong. Killmonger
Yeah.
was really interesting, just to me. I love Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, and the world building of Wakanda I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was really invested in Wakanda and that world, and I loved like the fights on the huge waterfall and that.
Mm-hmm.
The final fight is just garbage CGI, but I really thought it was powerful to like Killmonger's death and that he would rather die than kind of go into like almost captivity sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole film, it's just a very powerful message, even though I do think it's a little overrated by some people who are just like, oh my god, this is the greatest film of all
Right.
time. I don't believe that, but I do
No.
think it's a great movie. You can disagree with me, but Darren put Civil War at number 10, so.
Never
Yeah,
let
but
me
you put
down.
Black Panther at number 6.
When did I
Captain
do this?
America
I have
First
no
Avenger at
memory
number
of.
9.
Yeah,
How dare you.
Brayden.
Now, Ron on disagree with me, and I honestly wanted to put this film higher, I just couldn't. My number 6 is Ant-Man. Now, I loved Ant-Man.
Well, I'm surprised it's as high as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I'm surprised it's this high.
Now, I really loved Ant-Man. I loved every aspect of the Ant-Man. This was honestly one of my first MCU movies I ever watched. Surprisingly, I was kind of late to all this. I really liked it. I liked Paul Rudd. I liked his character, and he's such a relatable character. And when you see him, I'm like, that could have been any of us. That could have been any of us. This is the average Joe, but he's in the right circumstances at the right time, and I don't know. I like this movie as a whole. I thought Yellow Jacket was really good. And honestly, I really enjoyed this film. Purely it's this high just because I just love the film, not like too much of like a movie as a whole. But I really loved Ant-Man, but I just wasn't enough to get it to that top 5.
Yeah, okay. Brayden.
My number 6 is Iron Man. And I think
Iron Man's great.
I love this movie, and I think it's great up until the third act. I think the third act really brings it down. And I think if the third act was put together a little better and was... I don't know, it just could have been better, and I think it would have vastly improved the movie, and...
Mm-hmm. Yo, no one's talked about the Iron Man theme is actually really good. Like people talk about all the Marvel music being forgettable.
Nah,
Maybe because
I
they
really-
change it with every movie. The Avengers is pretty much the only movie that actually keeps the music.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
every other
oh,
movie-
yeah.
but I mean,
There's
this
sequels.
original Iron Man theme I love. I
We just
Yeah, it's
lost
pretty
all
good.
our subs again.
I just love
carry on.
Tony building the suit in the cave, and then I love
Yeah.
when he finds the cave, seeing the Mark 1 suit, and he just freaking wrecks
Oh,
shop.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how most of that suit was actually practical.
Yeah. It looked way better than the Infinity War suit, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
It was way too CGI for my liking.
like they actually built a lot of that suit, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
I just love Iron Man owning terrorists, and Jeff Bridges was great.
Yeah.
I thought Obadiah Stane was a great villain until he put on the Iron suit. It
Same.
kind of became crap.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cause I loved him up until that point.
Also, can we just say how this movie immediately just gets rid of the trope of superhero identities by the last scene in
Yes.
the movie is him saying he's Iron Man, and then pretty much the only other movie that actually handles superhero identities is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every other movie's like, yeah. So what if they know who
Mhm.
they are?
Yeah,
Yeah.
most of them don't care. though.
Oh,
It's not like DC where everyone has
Well, I mean, in the
an
comics,
identity.
they tend
Yeah.
to, most of them tend to be like pretty low key about who they are.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a nice change for the movies to not do that.
because honestly, in some things, the superhero identity can get kind of annoying.
It can.
Yeah.
I think DC uses it way too much, where every character tries to hide who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand some characters, but like
I
others,
understand
it's like
some
you know.
characters, like Peter, for instance. I can understand like why you
Yeah.
would want to, but
I mean,
yeah, I like that about the.
you can argue like Black Panther for like, I mean not Black Panther. You can argue like Black Widow for like a while there. She nobody really knew like who she was. But granted, that wasn't really. That was more so with Shield being like nobody.
What do you
knew
mean?
about that.
She's Scarlett Johansson. Everyone knows who she is.
Who?
I guess the whole secret identity thing kind of just depends on like what their intention is, because
Yeah.
like you know with Batman, his intention is to strike fear, so of course he doesn't want people knowing he's Bruce Wayne. Who would be scared of Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
That like reminds me
True.
of that like scene in like Homecoming when he like puts that like interrogation mode on and like gave me like so
Oh,
many
that's
Batman
great.
vibes.
you
Oh.
dude, give me the money. Where's the location? And it's so over the top.
Right. Alright.
It's
Yeah.
great.
I would want to put Iron Man a little higher, but just because the third act doesn't match up to the rest of the movie, it really drags it down for me. But it was the foundation of the MCU, so
Yeah.
Okay.
that's why I put it in such high regard
Yeah. I
and
really
respect
love Iron
it
Man.
so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Connor?
My 6 is The Avengers. I still think that this movie stands up so well, or holds up so well.
It really does.
Yeah, I think
It's
it does
still one
too,
of the
but
more enjoyable movies.
I'd rather watch other Avengers movies.
The only other
That's
Avengers
just
movie
me.
I'd rather watch is Infinity War.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Civil War.
I mean,
It has all of them in it.
it's kind of an.
I still consider it a Captain America movie, but
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have Thor or Hulk or that, so I kind of consider it more of a.
I mean, it is, but it's not like.
It's Avengers 2.5,
Right.
kind of.
you know, everyone was calling it that before the movie. And I mean, people still call it that. So,
Yeah.
I call it Captain America.
but if I wanted to see a
Civil War.
bunch of superheroes on screen together, I'm either watching Civil War or Infinity War. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
It
watch
also
the
gave us our
Avengers
first
every
look
now
at
and then.
Thanos.
I just want to watch it as often.
It also
Yeah.
gave us our first look at Thanos and stuff like that, and pretty much set the direction for the MCU.
Mhm.
Like the Thanos stuff in this, and the Avengers basically taking down the Chitauri. That's the reason why Thanos took an interest in all of this kind of stuff. Well, I know that they pretty much changed it, but at the end of this, Thanos is like, okay, Earth's a problem. I'm gonna take it out.
Yeah, these people like can do some damage. I'm gonna decimate
Yeah.
them real quick.
They ain't the best.
Oh, it took them
Yeah.
like 7 years.
Yes,
that-
I love the end credit scene setting up Thanos like that
Yeah.
because I saw the Avengers in theaters and I did not know who Thanos was at
Right.
that time. So I googled like end credit scene Avengers and it was like Thanos. I'm like, oh, who's that?
Yeah. But the Avengers is great, which is actually my number 5. I love this movie too. I will rewatch. Like I've seen this one probably the third most out of the entire MCU. I think it's a great team up movie. It was such a huge milestone. Actually, the first movie to break $200 million opening weekend ever, and the cast is great. Their chemistry is amazing. I absolutely love the Battle of New York. I think that it's one of the best like third acts in like cinema almost. Like the first two, you could argue it's a little bit boring, and some of it is because they're doing such a good job at setting these characters up and developing them together as a team. So when they come together as the Avengers, that third act is incredible.
Yeah.
There's also
And-
that amazing long take scene going through all of them using their powers.
Oh,
and then
that
when
is
Iron Man
so
just
dope.
lands
And it's
and
like
shoots
one
his...
take. Iron Man
Yeah.
flies, and then it goes to like lands and shoots his thing off of Captain America's shield,
Yes.
and then he like flies up to Hawkeye shooting a bow and arrow,
And
and
that
then it goes
slow-mo
over to
scene,
Hulk and Thor taking down a Chitauri thingy.
that
and
slow-mo scene
it's
of Thor and Captain America, like Thor's grabbing his hammer and Captain America's grabbing his shield at the exact same time.
It's so,
Yeah.
So
good.
good.
It's so good, and this movie really pulled off what a lot of people thought was impossible before
Yes.
this. And I absolutely love this movie. Like, it's so great. I wish I could put it higher, but a few things have surpassed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's revolutionary. I just think there's better made.
Yeah.
Okay.
My number 4 is Iron Man. Now, I love Iron Man. This movie...
Wait a minute, we're on number
We're on number 5.
Never mind. My number 5 is Iron Man.
I don't know.
It's the same thing. I said the wrong number.
Oh, okay.
I love this film. This is the film that started it all off. I love Tony Stark's origin story, and he, again, just like Ant-Man, he's such a relatable kind of character. We see these kind of people inside our world every day in politics. I liked how they were able to mix this in, and made us care about this character. Just 10 minutes in, like, this is probably one of the snubbed up superheroes ever made inside film and stuff, and they made me love this character just 10-20 minutes in. And I love his origin. I love how they were set this all up. Like, part of the reason it's so high, just so respected. And this film did, it started this whole franchise when it didn't even mean to really start a franchise. Or, maybe they had the idea of maybe starting a franchise someday, but, like, this film, a lot of people were kind of biased about it, but I thought it was very good. Robert Downey Jr. was amazing as Iron Man. I could not imagine ever having another Iron Man. Yeah, so my number 5 is Iron Man.
My number 5 is Spider-Man Homecoming, and I think everyone has said this so far that it's their favorite Spider-Man movie, but I still like Spider-Man 2 more.
Yeah.
But this was really different than Spider-Man 2, so they're really close for me. And I thought they got the character of Spider-Man really right, and they finally cast someone close to the age range. They didn't cast someone that was over 30 to play a high school student.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually looks like a high schooler.
And the Vulture is an amazing villain. I love him so much.
Yeah.
Darren, you said he's not a Loki or a Thanos. I think he's as good as Loki.
I think he is on that level too. Like, he's so good, so relatable.
Yeah, true.
Like,
True.
He's just trying to help his family out. Like,
Yeah.
he got kicked off at this big job. He had crew members and that stuff. So I love him.
I'd
He's
probably...
just trying to create
as a villain.
cool alien weapons in peace.
Yeah.
That car scene though, before prom,
Yeah.
is amazing. I love that scene
That's
so
one of the
much.
most intense scenes in the MCU.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the MCU.
And
It's my favorite scene
two
in the
people
movie.
talking in a car.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think...
My favorite scene in the movie is Come On Spider-Man, but that's like my second favorite because it's right.
I loved all the Captain America stuff throughout too. How
Yeah.
the school is using it.
Well, I
And,
think...
Yeah.
I think...
during gym class or whatever,
Aw,
Captain America, he's
so
instructing them, and the coach is like, "Yeah, he's like a war hero or whatever he
It's
said,
a war criminal, yeah.
war criminal
Yeah.
or something right now." But
And then the end credit scene where they made you wait like the whole time.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it's just
so
about
many people in the
patience.
theater was pissed about that. I'm like, I loved it. I
I
laughed.
thought it was hilarious, but at that point, everybody was starting to wait for Infinity War tie-in credit scenes. So I could see why
Yeah.
people were annoyed.
Yeah.
I think what made Falcon, or I think what made Vulture so good is that you could tell he kind of cared about Parker, and that like when he found out that he was Spider-Man, he was like, oh man, I can't kill a kid, and you can definitely tell there's some heart there. Like I did think he was a good villain, like not probably like my top 5 maybe. Nothing like I don't know.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
It was pretty awesome.
Okay, Connor.
My number 5 is Thor Ragnarok.
Hmm.
And unlike you guys, I love this movie.
You
I
never
love
said
this
that.
movie.
I thought this was the funniest Marvel movie yet until I rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, okay, I kind of like the Guardians humor more, but there was just so many things worked about this movie, and this is the first movie that made me go, okay, so Thor can work on his own. He just needed a good director.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
Taika, man.
But
This was the first movie that showcased really how powerful he could be.
oh
This
yeah.
is the first time he really felt like he was the
Oh,
god
yeah.
of thunder.
You
He
really,
just had a hammer.
yeah, he was just the god of hammers. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
in this movie, he is the god of heckin' thunder, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that annoyed me about Infinity War was how quickly they got rid of him having lost his eye. I thought him losing his eye in this was one of the best pieces of character development we've seen in any of the Marvel movies for any of the heroes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
first
I
huge
wish they
change for
didn't
him.
give him his eye back like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look cool with an iPad.
He looked awesome.
It's like
Pirate
Nick
Thor.
Fury 2.0.
Chris
Yeah.
Hemsworth can pull off that iPad.
Oh yeah, bro.
If he ever loses an eye, he doesn't have to worry.
I mean,
That was-
He'll know we can do it well.
Guys, let's be real.
That was
Chris
one of the
Hemsworth can
silliest,
pull
like,
off anything, but what?
That's true.
Him getting that eye back was probably one of the silliest like MCU moments like I've seen. Like
Yeah. Yeah, like Rocket just pulls an eye out of nowhere and it's like, oh, hey, you want this eye?
Oh hey, you want this, bro? Hey, I noticed you lost an eye.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
I
it's
still don't
fine.
get how that
People
works.
just jam eyes in their eye sockets and it works.
Yeah, yeah, everything.
Wouldn't the
will work
eye
out
be like-
fine.
Wouldn't the eye be like dried out though? Like,
You can
Oh, yeah.
definitely see.
how does this work? But
Like, I know it's supposed to be a cybernetic guy that he got in Guardians 2, but still. That always made me wonder, though. Did they plan that? Did they tell James Gunn that he had to put a scene into Guardians 2 where Rocket finds an eye? Like, we can't tell you why, but make sure Rocket has an eye by the end of Guardians 2.
yeah,
I
like
wouldn't doubt
it's
it
like-
if it was planned. Like,
It could
honestly, I wouldn't. Like that's Kevin Feige right there.
just shows
I think
up.
it's more coincidental if it wasn't planned. And they're, oh wait, Rocket has an eye. We can get Thor's eye.
Yeah. Mhm.
I feel like it was planned.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
has to have been,
maybe.
but, like, it's just so
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah, true.
I didn't expect him to get his eye back, honestly.
Same. I was like,
thinking he wouldn't.
I didn't think he would either,
I
and I,
thought
was
he'd be
like,
Pirate
I mean,
Thor for the rest
okay,
Yeah.
of his time.
because he looked
With it.
awesome with it. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
that would have been some
Um,
like cool like a dialogue being between Thor and Nick Fury too.
Yeah. All right, I'll go. I guess. My number 4 is Spider-Man: Homecoming. I absolutely love this film. It was a breath of fresh air, and I went into it expecting to like it like a lot. I loved this film.
Yeah, I
I
felt the
thought
same.
it was great, and it is my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man 2 is great, but this, it just felt so Spider-Man. You know, you can
Mhm.
argue with the Tony Stark tech and all that, but you felt the urban feel in it. It wasn't him swinging through huge rooftops or just skyscrapers all the time. You know, he
Yeah.
felt like a street level hero in this, and we got to see him go through school. And honestly, the scene right after he loses the suit, where he's just being a kid, is one of the better parts of the movie
Yeah.
for me. And they really made it work. That this, honestly, you could argue it's more of a fun summer movie than a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Because it was just so much fun to watch. I think all the humor is really great. Tom Holland is the best live-action Spider-Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Like, just easily. Like, Tobey Maguire fanboys can suck an egg.
Oh, we just lost those subscribers if there's
Everyone's gone now.
We lost them
No
all
one-
this
Please
video.
unsubscribe.
But,
I think the podcast is down to just me and you.
Everyone's kicked out except for us.
And
but,
I think
yeah,
that
I just love this movie. The Vulture is a great villain. Michael Keaton gives an amazing performance, and I think it's just such a fun movie, a breath of fresh air, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to, and it's definitely one of the more rewatchable movies in the
Yeah.
MCU as well.
Yeah. I low-key thought the trailers for Homecoming were terrible.
Same,
Oh,
and then I
like-
loved the
Yeah.
movie.
And
I don't even
maybe
remember
that's
the
a good
trailer,
thing.
so.
They gave
They were
away-
done by Sony, so they were pretty bad.
Yeah, so it was just awesome to see Spider-Man in the MCU and have an actual age-appropriate actor, like Brayden said. And, you know, he has this little, like, baby voice, too. That
Yes.
just sells it, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I should have mentioned this one when I was talking about it, but the scene where we see him just fight Vulture and then he's like buried under all of those rocks and you see him trying to overcome that and trying to pick all the rocks up, that's probably one of the best MCU scenes to this day. Like,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
I agree.
Alright.
Darren, you want to go next?
Yeah, we're number 4, right?
Yep.
My number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I kind of wanted to bump this
Y'all
one.
are Guardians Galaxy haters now, too.
Yeah, they are.
This is in our top 5, dude. I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and for a while it was my number 1. But then I kind of went back and like rewatched them all, and I figured some probably just a little better. I love this film. I love the chemistry between all the characters. The humor was amazing. The soundtrack was amazing. I said this about Guardians too. I love the family aspect. I love how, like, you know, they're kind of all these like weirdos and outcasts, but together they make something more and they become a family. And I love that aspect. I love Groot. I love Rocket. The scene at the end where like Groot dies had me practically tearing up, and then the end scene where like we see him dancing inside the background.
Yeah.
Priceless.
Yeah.
I
We
love.
are Groot.
Oh yes.
That was emotional.
That was really emotional.
That
I'm
was-
pretty
yeah.
sure my mom teared up at that.
We are the Flash.
No.
You know,
They both work so well.
Plot twist. Makes it sadder though, because originally when I first watched it, I didn't think he was dead. I just thought he was like reborn into like a tinier plant. That's what I originally thought, and then they confirmed it.
but no, that
No.
Groot is dead.
Dead. And when I first read it, I'm like, no, no, he can't. And then he goes and dies again.
Yeah. Well, the first Groot was the best Groot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
OG
I
Groot is
like
best
both.
Groot.
OG Groot is actually the best. And the scene when he's like whipping all those people around and the
Yes.
others are just standing there like,
Yeah, and he turns around, he smiles.
Yeah.
Like he just murdered a bunch of people. Come on, Groot, show some
yeah.
sympathy.
He just
Show
smiles.
some remorse.
And I mean, Vin Diesel is great, like, as Groot.
Looks like his bark
I
wasn't
mean, he
bigger
just
than his
says
bite.
3 words.
Just got to record
Well,
that
technically
one.
4 because he has wheat and
Yeah, but I mean, just like the way he says those words, man, those 3 words, so beautiful. Like,
I don't know why they cast like Vin Diesel. They could have just got like a voice actor for probably less price.
Yeah,
Like,
but
most
I
three
mean,
words people want to hear is "I love you." The 3 words I want to hear is "I am Groot."
I am Groot. Like,
Uh,
those are the 3
Yeah.
key
I am
words.
Groot can mean anything though. So course you want to.
Exactly. It's better.
Yeah, all like we should all just talk in
We-
Groot.
we can interpret it however we want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I speak Groot.
you can mouth someone off and they won't even notice.
Yeah.
Should just go to work later. I am Groot.
Run up to your boss. I am Groot.
And then
Like,
don't show up for work like ever again, and they'd be like, "Why'd you show up?" Like, I told you I quit.
I'm done.
He's like, you're not told me. I am Groot. And he's like, what? I am Groot.
Yeah, didn't you hear me?
You didn't hear me? I am Groot.
He'll send you to like therapy or something. You're like, see, like, we got a cycle here.
But anyways, yeah.
Raiden, what's your number
Ooh.
4?
I'm sorry, Quanner.
Oh my God, don't say it. Don't say it.
Number 4 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh, he said it.
Yeah.
I'm out. Bye. I quit.
I think it is
Guess
the
it's
most.
a one-person podcast now.
I think it is the most well-made
Hey,
movie in the MCU.
Can I be reinstated if we just say Black Panther doesn't exist?
No.
Dang it! What if I
Whoa.
move it to 7?
Connor, didn't you get kicked out earlier though? So we're like,
Yeah,
but
we're
then I
all
got
out.
reinstated.
We have like no one left.
Then I got reinstated.
But like,
Okay.
why can't I be reinstated?
This is the Promo Central podcast now.
Oh, oh,
The dude that hasn't been here in like 2 months.
the dude that hasn't been here in 8 weeks.
All right.
Get ready for uploads, fellas.
All right.
Okay,
Why is Winter Soldier your number 4?
I think it is
I need to hear this.
I think it is the most well-made movie in the MCU, but I just think the 3 I have above it are more entertaining and more rewatchable, for me at least.
I'm triggered.
I love the action throughout. The action choreography is amazing in this movie. They developed Captain America so well and built on his relationship with Bucky. Nick Fury was great in this movie. It's probably the most I've ever liked Nick Fury in a movie. The elevator fight scene is one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in any action movie. And the Peggy scene is pretty heartbreaking. I think the action is the strongest part of the movie, though.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. Connor?
It's a great movie. I just had to put the other 3 above it.
Anyway, my number 4 is Captain America: Civil War. It's
Wow, aren't you Captain America Civil War hater?
Yeah, come on, bro. Only number 14. Connor, oh my God, you're kicked out of the podcast, bro.
great. I didn't like this podcast anyway. No, Jake, I love it. Please don't kick me off.
I mean, Connor, if you reinstate me, I'll let you not be kicked off, even though I don't know how I'm making the decision since I'm kicked off. But
I reinstate everybody.
All right,
It's like
sick.
totally Sway.
This is how the Holy Spiel works.
What?
This
What's
is Holy
so
Schway
Mr.
Civil
Nobody
War.
didn't hear that.
We are
Oh,
officially the weirdest podcast on like the face of the earth.
Maybe.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, Civil War, I love it, but well, no, there's no buts about it. I just love it. I just like my top 3 more. There's really not much to hate about this movie, to be honest. It does such a good job of handling all of these characters so well. And
So well. Like the Russo brothers, you gotta hand it.
exactly.
Holy crap.
It's serious when it needs to be, and it's humorful when it needs to be. There's no forced humor. There's no forced seriousness. It just works so well together. And all of the characters get their time to shine.
Yeah.
But it still feels like a Captain America movie.
Yeah.
The main crux of the
Freaking
movie
Hawkeye
is,
gets his time to shine. Like,
the main part of the movie is Bucky and Steve's friendship. So the fact that they can have that be the main part of the movie while also having practically the entire Avengers in it and have it make sense is such a good.
it's
such a good
brilliant, and it wraps up this Captain America trilogy so well, which I would honestly say is one of the best trilogies of all time. And you can add
Oh,
me,
yeah.
I agree.
but I would say it's one of the best trilogies.
I'm gonna
ever
at
made.
you and say I agree.
All right, sick.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually thought it was great how they kind of like did the opposite of predictable when we assumed that the final battle was going to be Bucky.
The huge
Steve,
one,
and-
yeah.
Yeah. No, not just that. We thought that the final battle scene was going to be Bucky, Steve, and Tony against the 6 Winter Soldiers.
Oh
Because
yeah,
we
yeah,
keep
yeah.
getting these built up the whole movie.
Mhm.
Then they show up.
And they're all like dead.
Yeah, they're all dead. I thought that was so interesting, like that they didn't have that be the final battle, and instead they have the final battle be such an emotional, like.
Honestly, that battle is a better made battle than the airport fight.
Oh, I agree. I think
Yeah.
like the punches feel so just
Every
good.
punch, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like you feel them.
just like
Yeah.
First Avenger. I think this is one of the most emotional movies in the MCU. It's with the
Oh,
Tony
yeah.
and Steve stuff, and then
Yeah.
the speech
Mhm.
towards the end with Steve saying that
Dude.
if Tony ever needs him, he'll be there.
Oh yeah, that was emotional. Like, but when Bucky was trying to like rip Tony's like arch thing out, or at least like stop it, it felt like my heart was getting ripped out. Like,
Yeah.
jeez, bro.
I was like, come on. We ain't even had Infinity War yet.
You're making me feel guilty.
Oh, man. Yeah, come on, Darren. It's such a great
You
movie.
should.
How you should feel guilty. Number 10.
You know.
Yeah, Darren, you're
After-
not reinstated.
Okay. After hearing all this, I would bump it up to a 6.
A 6.
How do you
Wow.
go from 10 to 6?
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Captain America Civil War? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping that would somehow rhyme, but it didn't.
Note to self: never do karaoke night.
No, we're doing it. Like, I'm gonna make it happen.
Going to a karaoke night.
That'll be the
Just make
worst.
a night for everything.
We.
Yep.
We'll talk about that later.
But should we move on?
To our top 3.
My number. What are we on? 3?
Yeah, top
Yep.
3. Top 3. The best of the best. Here we go. Go on, Arcanine.
All right, my number 3. Oh shoot, I'm gonna get kicked off by Connor, aren't I? I got Winter Soldier at 3.
Get
Yeah,
out.
I had it lower, so don't worry.
Yeah, Brandon didn't get kicked off, so you can't kick me off. This movie is absolutely incredible. I used to have it at like number 6, and I don't know how, because it has probably the best action I have ever seen. Like, overall, people are saying like, oh, you want a movie with incredible action? Go watch like The Matrix and all that. No, watch Captain America: Winter Soldier, because the choreography is insane. The stunt work is absolutely incredible. The Russo brothers, who would have thought they would direct a movie this good and with this incredible action, and the whole thing is just great. I love Cap. I love his speech towards the end where he's telling everyone that, Hydra has invaded them and how you stand up to them. That was incredible. Showcased just how good Chris Evans is as this character. The Winter Soldier suit is amazing. It starts off so well. I think it has the best pacing in the MCU. I think it's the most well-made film in the MCU overall. But if I am saying, which 2 films are the ones I hold most dear to my heart, which I would just watch overall, which ones I absolutely love, it just misses the cut. But what a phenomenal movie.
You're kicked off the podcast. JK. I'm sorry. Reinstated.
Okay.
Alright. My number 3 is Avengers. The first Avengers film. I love this movie. This goes down as one of my favorite movies ever made. I love this movie, and it just holds so much. Because this movie made movie history. This was the first time that they were able to incorporate three different franchises into one. Build up so many characters. All the characters have so much chemistry together. This is
Technically 4 different franchises, but
let's see, Hulk, Cap, Iron Man, Thor. Yeah, okay. 4 different franchises. Chemistry was amazing. This, don't laugh at me. This was, I think, debatably Loki's best film, and I love his chemistry with Tony Stark. I think this is, I don't know. This was the first time where I'm like, oh wow, Hulk is actually a pretty cool character. So many memorable lines. This was you can argue Nick Fury's first huge appearance. I mean, kind of. I mean, he was in Thor and stuff, but he wasn't in
I think Iron Man 2. He had a pretty big.
Okay, yeah. You're right there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I love this film. Did so much. Again, like I said earlier, that circle scene where we see is so iconic.
It is.
Again,
It's one of the most iconic scenes for me, and
I agree.
I don't care. It's just incredible.
Again, so many good lines. There's so many quotes. Some of the greatest quotes inside the MCU is in this film. Don't make me mad, or don't make me angry quote. We have a Hulk quote. There's so many. I had to put this one on number 3. Yeah, that's my number 3. Braden?
My number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Absolutely love this movie. The humor hits basically every time they tell a joke. It works so well. The actor's dynamic is so good for like a first time cast together. They had amazing chemistry, and as Darren said, they feel like a family.
Mhm.
And Groot's death is probably the most emotional death in the MCU.
It's so sad. Oh, like we are like.
I never
Because
thought
the whole time he just says, "I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot." But we are Groot. That was like.
they did a good job making
And he
this cry over a
sacrificed
tree.
himself for all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic Groot.
And Ronan, he's a fine villain. I think he was one of the better villains in the first two phases.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really start getting good villains until phase 3.
Yeah.
Or great villains, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time
we basically already touched on everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's just a great movie.
My number 3 is a movie you might not have heard of, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh wow. All right. Cool. Bye.
I also think this is like the most rewatchable of the MCU movies, for me at least.
I agree with that.
It's
I think
definitely up there.
It's a fun movie. There's not an awful lot of problems with it, and I think they bring together the main Guardians so well.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel forced. On top of that, yes, Dark World is the first time we get proper look at the Infinity Stones. You get the first name drop of them. This is the first movie that explains them. We get that scene with them all in the collector's shop, and they're all standing around, and the collector just explains all 6 Infinity Stones, what they are, how powerful they are.
And the Celestials and all that.
Yeah, exactly. It does. It sets up so much lore in the MCU, while not like forcing it at you. It makes sense. He's explaining it to them because they brought him an Infinity Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it also sets up. It's the first real cosmic look at the MCU as well, because at this point hadn't really touched on cosmicness at all. It was maybe just Earth stuff.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see our first look at all that, all the different planets, all the different species like the Kree and the Xandarians and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also the Kree and all that are going to be huge parts of Captain Marvel and the MCU going forward.
Yeah.
And we got Howard the Duck in the end credits.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Best end credits scene of all.
Mm-hmm.
I would even say it's part of the movie. That's how important it is. It's not even a scene.
It's the most important part of the franchise, like the MCU.
Exactly.
Like straight up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Thanos?
How the Duck's real, Randy.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now moving on to number 2.
Yeah.
Mine is Captain America: Civil War. Basically, Connor and basically already said everything. It was such an emotional film. I absolutely loved it. The action, for the most part, is just insane, and they utilize all these characters in perfect ways. I love the end fight scene. It was really unpredictable. See a lot of people hating on Zemo. I really liked him.
Oh, I love him. I think he was one of the best MCU villains.
I think he
he's one
was
of the
so
best.
cool because he wasn't the guy that was gonna straight up fight him. He was smart.
Yeah.
He was gonna make
Yeah.
them fight
the
each
first
other.
guy. He was the only person who tore the Avengers apart. Every
Yeah.
other villain never touched them, pretty much.
In fact, every other villain made them come together stronger, basically.
Exactly.
And Zemo is the one to tear them apart. And I just love everything about this movie. I've seen it, I think, the most out of the MCU movies, tied with probably Infinity War. And it's just spectacular every time. I don't have any real problems with it. It is a Captain America and Bucky story, while also having all these other events included, and they did it so seamlessly and so perfectly, and I just love it. And I think I'm gonna say my number 1 obviously is Infinity War. I'm sure you guys will touch on everything. It's just great.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Infinity War is spectacular.
All right.
It's fantastic.
Mine number 2. Now this is my favorite MCU movie, but I don't think it's the best MCU movie. So my number 2 is Infinity War. I literally like everything about Infinity War. They did everything in the MCU the past 10 years was all leading up to this final battle, finally getting revealed to Thanos, and like there's so many elements to this film. The chemistry with characters, introducing all these other characters. Thanos was definitely the MVP of this film. We get Thor in a good way again. So many emotional deaths. Like there's so much you can't even cover it all. I love Infinity War. It's honestly probably my second favorite movie like ever made. I don't want to touch on this too long because this podcast is like already 20 hours long. But I really did love Infinity War. Braden?
My number 2 is Captain America Civil War. We basically touched on everything, and I just think it's amazing. All this and still introduce Black Panther and Spider-Man into the movie.
Mm.
And it never felt crowded with all these heroes. It felt natural, and it was just real. It's just put together extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Connor.
My number 2 is Avengers: Infinity War. This is the biggest, baddest, well, not baddest, you know what I mean, like biggest, badassest movie in the entire MCU. It's amazing how this worked so well. Like any other franchise, or any other company this movie was made on, I feel like with the weight of how much expectations were on it and how much work had to be put into this, I feel like it would have failed if it was under any other franchise. But it worked so well with it being in the MCU, and I think that there's really not a lot of problems with this. My only problem with it is the soundtrack. I feel like they should have incorporated the soundtracks from different movies more into it, rather than only using the Avengers 1 soundtrack and the Wakanda soundtrack for like 2 minutes.
Well, they kind of use the Guardians a bit. Like they have some like Guardians.
They use their music, but they don't use their OST from their own movies. They only just use like one of the things from the Awesome Mix.
Yeah.
But I think all these characters work so well together. They did a great job at deciding which characters should match with which. Like they were like, okay, who should we put together? Let's put Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Spider-Man with this half of the Guardians.
Yeah.
Let's put Thor with this other half. Let's have Black Panther meet up with Captain America. Let's do all that kind of stuff. I think they chose the perfect characters to fit together, and because of that, tones barely clashed. So when you had the humor characters together, it was normally with other humor characters. You very rarely had serious characters with other serious serious characters with other funny characters.
Yeah.
So because of that, you would know when you were in a scene that was going to have humor in it, and you would know when you were in a scene that was going to be serious and emotional. And it was just the lead up to everything in the MCU from this point. And the thing is, though, I feel like depending on how Endgame turns out, it could either heighten how good Infinity War is, or it could damage how good it is. Like, for example, I know we always end going back to DC somehow, but take Lee and You, for example. That was my all-time favorite episode of Arrow until we saw the conclusion of how everything turned out. I think if Endgame somehow, it probably won't because it's Marvel, but if MCU somehow turned out to be a disappointing conclusion, I think that Infinity War could end up falling much further down my list, because I wouldn't want to rewatch it knowing that things turn out in not the best quality.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's more of a standalone movie, though. I mean, like, if it's good, in my opinion, that film's good, and, like, the following film shouldn't affect that. I mean, like,
I don't think it's a standalone. I know that they changed the names, but I think no matter what, even though they changed the names, this was still very much Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2.
Well,
even if they changed the names of it.
Yeah, it's one part of a 2-part story.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the sequel shouldn't affect how, like, someone feels about the first film, in my personal opinion.
I get that. I just feel like if they end on a cliffhanger, it means that now in a way that this movie is kind of tied to the other movie, in a way that with one being bad, it could affect the other one in a bad light.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. I get what
I kind of think that's something with all these movies, not even the direct sequels, but the entire MCU, since they're all connected together. That's why I like Iron Man so much, is because it was the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't have anything to hang on to.
And that's why a lot of people still love the first Avenger so much, because it was so legendary.
Yeah. But so our number 1, son.
My number 1 is Captain America: Winter Soldier. Now, I love this film. This goes down probably my third film ever made. I love every aspect of this film. This was 100% Captain America's best film. Not that his other films were bad. I love his chemistry with Bucky. I love his chemistry with Black Panther. I thought, definitely Nick Fury's best film. The choreography and the fight scenes. They had some of the best fight scenes out of all the MCU. And this was honestly, you can argue a few of the other movies, but this is, in my opinion, one of the most important MCU movies. I mean, they really introduced Hydra in a big way, that it still exists, which traveled through the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television series, and they also introduced this whole storyline with Bucky, which carried into Civil War, but also Infinity War, and will continue into Endgame with this conflict between Tony and Captain America. I thought it was perfect. This was the movie that made me love Captain America. It really highlighted. Honestly, I was trying to go through and think of something I didn't like about this film, and I couldn't find a single thing I did not like about this film. So that's my number one. It's my favorite, or it's not my favorite. It's my second favorite. But overall, I think it's the best MCU movie. Braden.
I agree.
Yeah, my number one is Infinity War for basically all the reasons Connor said.
Yeah.
It was the culmination of 10 years, 19 movies, and it did an amazing job at that. And yeah, Endgame could affect how I look at this movie, because it's going to be kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Alright, so I guess my number one is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And like Darren said, I think, and like even Brain said, I think this is the best made movie in the MCU. It's just, it doesn't just work as a superhero movie, it works as a movie in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the darkest and most serious movie up until this point in the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
And it showed that there could be serious movies inside the universe that mostly is filled with humor movies. And it's really changed Captain America. Up until this point, he generally tried to see the good in everyone. He was very much like a Superman character who would see the good in people. He was always kind of cheerful in that. But after this movie, he was pretty dark. And in Civil War, also adding on to this, he's now more so, he knows how dark humanity can be. And this did a good job at introducing Falcon. We got the combination of Captain America with Black Widow, and Bucky being the Winter Soldier. Obviously, all of that stuff is great, and the action, I think, is unparalleled in this. I think that the hand-to-hand fights and just the fight scenes in general, even Infinity War hasn't lived up to how good they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yep.
So
That's
yeah,
20 MCU movies ranked.
Ooh, this was a doozy. 100%
Yeah,
our
long.
longest podcast yet.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of fun. We'll be back next weekend or Monday or whatever. I hope you guys did enjoy the podcast. Also, make sure to follow our social medias and also our individual channels down inside the links below. Make sure every Thursday now we bring back Trivia Night, which is super sway. Make sure to bring that. Our boy Arcanines will be hosting this Thursday, so make sure to join us then. We do really hope you enjoyed the podcast and have a sway day.
And please don't unsubscribe from us if you like Black Panther and Civil War a lot. Please.